All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a lovely Monday evening. Happy New Week. Shiradan Buwawa, Shiradan Lewa. Glad to have you join us today. So some things earlier that was making me laugh. Prof, thank you very much. Actually, we're discussing Azikwe because of the video that we started talking about on Friday. Um, over the weekend, I read this an old newspaper, right, about some of Azikwe's ideas, and I was like, this is not bad though. You know, you know what I tried to do, right? I tried to go out of my way because when you read history and you see what they've done, not what they've written, what they've done, you'd be like, ah. So you have to reading something about some of the things he wrote at the time. I was like, this is good though. Well, before I finished appreciating what I was reading, I was like, but it was against it when they wanted to, pass it. It was literally against this thing. But years later, he's suggesting it. So I can't really give him credit for that. And that has to do with ethno-linguistic states. It was writing about it in the 1960s, something that Aldo has been talking about since 1947. He alluded to it in 1944 in Political Blueprint, that's Zeke, where it was inconsistent. Anyway, just to say that it's important to look for something good in folk so that we don't just focus on the ìwà ìrègbè àbí ìwà ìrèkèrèkè tó wà lọ́wọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nínú wọn. Anyway, glad to have you join us today. Good afternoon, everybody. Lovely Monday evening. For those of us on TikTok, let me appreciate you very, very much for getting us to 36 point SEO, 36.3K likes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you because while you were listening to the music, you were also tapping. So, that's the whole idea. And I really appreciate you for your help. Thank you, Abby71. Thank you, Koboko. I'm going to read as many names as I can see. I've seen Abby71. I've seen Koboko. I've seen Aleshman. Okoya Zikiwala, that is Oboyo. I've seen Alain Koladejo, Akadol. Everybody who has liked life, thank you. Thank you very much. Right. These things help a lot. So please, if you have not done so, kindly join to Power Tap like live on TikTok. Okay. If you're joining us on YouTube, please like the live as well, and also recommend to others so that way we can have more people join us here. Um, if you're on TikTok, please click on the heart icon up here to join the team. If you're already a member of the team, click on that heart icon to drop a gift. Let's drop heart meals to push us to the FYP, that's the For You page. Okay. Thank you very, very much. All right. Folks on Facebook, thanks for joining us. Please like the live and share. And for our friends on Twitter, please like and repost. We are going to have a great evening together. I can already tell. I got a feeling. I have a very beautiful. Oh dear. I have a feeling. I have a feeling I have to get up for a second. I have to get up for 1 second, but I will be back. Now I can't play music. But what I can do is this. I'm going to play something that we've discussed before so that you'll not just be sitting while I just need to switch the power source. Um, I can play Orokota Songbako so that way you're listening to something. What is that? You can't play music because of this whole thing about uh, copyright. But let's do our own copyright. Wait till we have copyright. So come off your copyright, Shakosiwa. I can play um, something from what we put out earlier today. Or maybe over yesterday. There's a shorter one though. You know what? So I did it might be no. Interfin working in Guatemala Mati Deo. got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. Okay, I'll play you something short while I sort out this stuff. I just played a very short clip. We put it out yesterday, 2 days ago. Why Peter Obi is unfit to lead. It's not today's topic, but so that you'll be listening to something while I get this thing sorted. So please enjoy this, and I'll be back in a jiffy.
What do you think? How do you think he can make it right? Do you think, what mistakes do you think he made, and do you think he has a chance in the next election?
Well, I hope for the sake of the nation that he doesn't express interest in the next election. Because for me as a leader, if there was any proof that he was unfit to lead that country, it's in the conduct which he encouraged among his followers. I know for a fact, and I can give you an instance which proves that he was in control of those forces.
Can you please, what's the instance, Prof?
Well, simply because when he first came to visit me, he did come at one time.
That's
somebody
correct.
brought him. And I watched him. I watched his action, his body language. He seemed to be very conciliatory. Compares something, and after he made a statement like, "Oh, don't worry, everything, will be." He was talking about the quote-unquote obedience. I remember he took out his...
So he really, yes.
And I saw and I read his statement about that meeting afterwards. The statement was a contrast to what actually happened, what we discussed. And I mentioned it in my response when somebody said, I can't remember what he wrote, but anyway, it was a misrepresentation of what happened. And I made sure that I put a statement out saying, no, I'm sorry, this is not what was said. This language never came into it. On the contrary, this is what happened. And so when I meet somebody who is incapable, even at a meeting which is supposed to be conciliatory, of being completely honest, I look at that person, and so I smiled myself. And of course, when I got to Stellenbosch and I was asked a question about this, I repeated exactly what had given, quote-unquote, given offense. Only this time I made it even stronger. I said, Peter Obi did not win this thing. So I led them again to go on the...
All right. Says he wish that he wouldn't run. I mean, he can run if he wants to. But Thomas saw Nibagba. How do you interpret that? So, but if you throw Abebe fan, hand fan, if you throw it up 1,000 times, to only fall on its face. So, like, it doesn't really matter how many times you try, it looks like it's going to be the same result, essentially. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned. Just listen to a very short clip that we have on our page on YouTube, why Peter Obi is unfit to lead. Well, that's Wole Soyinka's final verdict. But like I said, it's not today's topic. We're going to get into the news, then we'll get into today's topic. Today's topic is actually a reaction to a couple of videos. People have sent many videos. So if you notice, we've been reacting to a lot of videos, but I decided not to call it Matters Arising because I need to... It's Matters Arising, right? But we will be reading. I discovered, because I had to do like a retrospective after last Friday session, and I discovered the reason I was rushing was because I was trying to get to class. So why not just take the reaction as a class gogon rather than rushing to quickly answer. So that's why I titled it Tribalism and Ibo Origins. We'll get to those things much later. We're going to begin with the news. We're going to start with Dinomelaye, he was on my podcast with Joaquin Baloye, and he has some very interesting things to say. The most interesting I'm going to play last. But, wow, I like your confidence. Okay, so that way there's activity, there's engagement. On my podcast with Joaquin Baloye. Take a listen to this. Just a second, please. All right.
West in the governorship equation, the future truly holds for Kogi West in the governorship equation in Kogi State.
First, I will start by saying that it is abominable for you to call Yayabelo my friend, because darkness and light don't concur. We are on two parallel grounds.
So you are no longer friends?
I said he has never been my friend.
But you were formerly in the same party?
Yeah, we were. We know each other, but he's not my friend. Darkness and light don't concur. We don't operate together at all. But I am light.
As a Christian, I thought maybe your differences you are forgiven. The Bible teaches you, or you don't.
I have not told you here that the West have 7 local governments, while the East have 9 local governments.
The future truly holds.
So the beginning of that particular clip, I'm not sure. I mean, we know exactly the inner workings between Senator Milaye and the former governor Yayabelo, but the latter part of that clip, I agree with 100%. I think it's important that the Okun people also get to govern the state. Kirin Kogi State. I mean, those are the Yoruba people of Kogi State, and like a third of the people there, right? But Kogi State has never had an Okun governor or a Yoruba governor. So I hope that it almost happened with Faleke, but then if Faleke had been the deputy governor, maybe he would have, stepped up to being the governor. But I know we've had a deputy governor. That was to Captain Idris, where the deputy governor was from Okun. But hopefully, maybe after Ododo, it will be nice to have Yoruba represented at that level. So I agree with him on that one. Now, he also talked about a couple of other things, and this is the second one I'm going to play, then we'll move on. And this was where we talked about the fact that Dino Melaye, would beat Tinubu flat if they contested an election. If both of them contested an election, he would win. I was like, this man is very...
I can actually win an election strategically as a politician.
My brother.
What PN do you think could work best?
Anybody among those interested in presidency in ADC would do 1 million times better than Tinubu. There can never be a worse president than Tinubu. There can never be.
So Dino would defeat Bola Tinubu?
Me?
Dino Melaye?
Let's go. Let's go on a free and fair election. Today,
Senator
Bola
Dino
Tinubu
Melaye
is the most unpopular politician in Nigeria.
So you can beat President Tinubu at the election?
Anopa, Anobole.
What is that?
I will beat him flat.
In Kogi?
He will not even stand up.
In Kogi or in
the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You are that popular?
Let him allow a free and fair contest. And if he doesn't allow it, we will make him conduct our election. Because he doesn't want election. He wants to be Kabis. He wants to be Igwe. We will not allow that to happen in Nigeria. It will not happen.
What do you think about the Peter Obi Kwankwanso? Because there are those who say the ticket of the ADC should go to the south.
My brother, I am not interested in any joint ticket or not joint ticket. My own for now is that we must send Tinubu away. Whoever emerge from consensus or from a primary, I will support. And Atiku also made that statement yesterday. And I know that is also the belief of every other person who is interested in the presidency of this country. We are not desperate. We are only interested in rescuing this country.
You're not desperate, but you know that you need to be strategic.
My brother, we are strategic, and we are working on it. And what makes us different this time is what our national chairman said at the convention, that there will be party supremacy in ADC. My brother, we are going to bring back the semblance of what happened in the Second Republic. In the Second Republic, National Caucus of NPN holds in the party secretariats.
Your Excellency.
I think Senator Miller is actually quite funny. I mean, nothing is impossible, right? That's what they say. But you know what they call motivational speakers? That's what they tell people. Not motivational, motivational. The idea that you're going to win Tinubu is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. But I think the is that party. I mean, I hope they are strategic enough to be able to try to win, because I want Tinubu to win. I mean, you know that. So I'm not trying to form my own bias. I want Tinubu to win, but I would like to have a very strong opposition party. That's what I want. I want to have like a group that can actually keep them on their toes, so they're not just doing things based on, say, they are the ones in power. No, we need a very strong opposition party, but I'm not sure with what they are doing right now, they can give us what we want. But we'll see how that plays out. I think it would be nice, though, if Nigeria does have something like that, rather than they ask you if you think you can win him. You are saying that, one no bale. The senator didn't not lose, I mean, in the last electoral cycle, was he not supposed to go back to the Senate? I'm not sure of Kogi election. I mean, that is his own particular constituency. I don't know how they played it out. But does anybody know? Anyway, I said that to say that if he was supposed to win, win, toward the pace in our best flex, that means there's nothing God cannot do. All right, let's move on to something. He lost, Abby. But someone says he lost. Exactly. He lost in uppers. But I knew he ran, right? Because it was in the Senate. I think he was going to come back, but then he lost. So until win senatorial districts, Loma defeat Tinubu in presidential election. It is well. It is well. There's one more thing I think I want you to listen to before I go to the next stuff. And I want to play this not because of what Miller himself said, but because of how Sheon interviewed him, because that will help us to appreciate the next news item I want to read. So give me a second. I'm going to play you that video. But that's not even the point. But I want you to listen to it and then see how Sheon actually engaged the good senator.
Mobilized crowd by governors.
Sorry, please take a listen to this.
Those are mobilized crowd by governors and states. Not one person on my honor, I am telling you, was mobilized for the convention. Everybody came on their own volition. That is to tell you that Nigerians are tired of APC. Nigerians are tired of the lies of APC, and we cannot take it alone.
Yet
Tinubu is not interested in election. He doesn't want election, and that is why he wants a one-party system. He wants a one-party state. He doesn't want to conduct election. He wants to be coronated. He wants to be coronated as Kabiesi, as Emir, as Igwe. And Nigeria is not a monarchical system of government. It will not happen. He's announcing that they want to scare him. He's not scared. Even announcing that shows that he's scared. For even saying that shows that he's scared. And we are going to scare him more. And we are going to watch his back run like a child.
How do you want to do that?
When we get to the bridge,
this is a man that has never lost an election.
My brother, he will lose this one.
How?
Because we have never also in Nigeria seen a president like him. We have never seen a disaster like this before.
Yeah, but if you hear what the president said here, and if the president could say that when he had little chance for the primary, he won. at the election, when it was tough, he won. And he was making inference that, is it now that he's a president and has about 31 state governors, is it that time that he's going to lose an election?
That is
You heard him.
That's a myopic statement from somebody who does not know that there is a God in the affairs of men. He was talking like a totalitarian that he is. He was talking like a demigod that he thinks he is. But I'm announcing to him that there is a God in the affairs of men. He was speaking.
Some analysts have called this election. They said it's a war.
There was no contest. He was cruising into the presidency. All the 5 political parties endorsed him. Those are the political parties that late Bola Ige, the sage, described as 5 fingers of a leprous hand. But when God wanted to prove that he is God, he just picked his phone and said, Sani, I want to see you. Sani, I want to see you. And when God calls you, my brother, there's no network failure. It was not that, but I want to announce to him. Before, people tried to announce to him. Before, people trusted him because they have not seen him in power before. But now that they have seen him, he thinks he can come up now. Okay, go and sell Muslim tickets in the north now. And see the kind of stones that will descend on your head. As president, now they have seen him. My brother, we have never seen what we are seeing today in Nigeria. And it is everywhere. Let me tell you, the governors and the ministers are deceiving Tinubu.
Really?
And Tinubu knows. He knows. That is why he doesn't want the election. That is why he wants coronation. If he is so comfortable with 33 governors, with 85% of the National Assembly, he will be drinking juice in his house, and he will not be perturbed about ADC. He will not be disturbed about any political party. He will just, but he is disturbed. That is why he's after ADC.
Such a political strategist, do you think he will watch you people
political
run him
strategies?
out of town?
So, is he the firstborn of the Almighty God? What strategies? You arrogate so much. My brother, all tyrants in the world, when confronted, are cowards. Forget the bravado. Forget the
Position themselves as a tyrant, let alone talk about when you confront them, they are cowards. I mean, what do you need to confront? That's actually quite funny. But he said a number of things. He said also about Olodumare. He literally just said that you will beat him flat. He did not add by God's grace. He said they will win. He didn't add by God's grace. You have a problem with the fact that he said he would win, but when you said you are going to beat him flat, you did not add by God's grace either. In other words, you are saying it because you are confident in your ability. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's overconfidence, whichever one it is. I mean, I know it. I mean, to be honest, it's not something to respond to. I mean, I'll leave it to the presidency to respond to it. But I think that the idea that he's making himself look like Olodumare, I don't even think that that's what's happening. It's just somebody who is confident in his chances. And the fact that, of course, he sees your house in chaos, right? And instead of you guys to fix it, you are pointing the finger at Tinubu is the one responsible for what's happening. It's just like what we listened to last week, when they asked Peter Obi, we're going to listen to something like that later today, about what's happening in AGC, and he said, oh, it's yours. Anyway, what I really wanted you to listen to in that was how Sheon had that conversation. I didn't hear a lot of it. I put it to you. Even though I support Tinubu, I was willing to listen to me like, okay, I'm not saying she don't support anybody, but at least you can see that thing. It gave him the avenue, the opportunity to say whatever I wanted to say, which is what we expect of our broadcasters. And apparently a lot of broadcasters, maybe they forgot, but the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission has chosen to, in a way, remind them of what they do. Say they are not OAPs. They are supposed to be journalists, and there's a way they have to conduct themselves. In other words, they have to conduct themselves accordingly. And so a couple of days ago, the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission put out a press release where they said, I'll just read some of the things in here. National Broadcasting Commission issues formal notice to broadcasters over code breaches in news, current affairs, and political programs. The National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) has identified a sustained increase in breaches of the 6th edition compliance with every provision of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code, particularly those relating to fairness, balance, accuracy, hate speech, incitement, and respect for constitutional bodies. And they went ahead to list some of the pressing issues. They talked about the crisis of anchor and presenter professionalism. They talked about the misuse of broadcast platforms by political actors. Maybe we should just read a few things here since we are all here already. In view of the foregoing, the Commission draws attention to the following pressing issues. Number one, the crisis of anchor and presenter professionalism. The Commission has noted a disturbing departure from the core principles of broadcast journalism in clear violation of the ethical standards enshrined in the Nigerian Broadcasting Code as follows. So there's a section 110.3. The broadcaster shall ensure that its presenter does not express his or her opinion in the program as a matter of professional standard. You know, some people that really need to hear this. I said it the other day that growing up, our interviewers or news reporters just told us what was happening or just asked questions. So if it was news, they told you what was happening, they reported it. If it was interview, they asked you questions. They didn't put anything to you and they didn't have any axe to grind. I say they don't lose that one, but thankfully they are saying it here that the broadcaster shall ensure that its presenter does not express his or her opinion in the program as a matter of professional standard. Another one, all sides to any issue of public interest are equitably presented. Use of broadcast platform by political actors. The Commission has documented the rising trend of political actors across party lines using broadcast platforms to promote content in violation of the following code sections. Section 311, no broadcast shall encourage or incite to crime and lead to public disorder or hate to be repugnant to any person or organization alive or dead, or generally be disrespectful to human dignity. Language or sin likely to encourage incite or crime or incites to crime or lead to disorder is not broadcast, and so on and so forth. It's a number of stuff here, and it's quite nice. And I'll just read the conclusion. Henceforth, any anchor or presenter found to have expressed personal opinion as fact, bullied or intimidated a guest, denied fair hearing to opposing views, or otherwise compromised neutrality, and that they're going to be dealing with them. They don't want to finish everything. Here's the point. I think it's good that the NBC is setting the standard for folks in journalism and broadcasting. A lot of them actually should be bloggers, right? The way they're talking on TV, many of them should be blogging. And there's nothing wrong with blogging, okay? It's a form of, it. But what's expected of you as a blogger is different from what's expected of you as a journalist working in a broadcasting organization. So what the NBC is saying here is actually very, very important. But people have gone to town saying that this thing is APC trying to silence the opposition and things like that. But anybody can say whatever they want to say. I think the funniest one was actually Rufai Oseni of Arise News having a conversation. And I'm sorry, he typed something. I'm going to read it out to you about this particular stuff. All right, I think it's here. The weather is a bit okay, good. So he says here that I am sure NBC got jittery when I said I will come back with more fire. Even that should be something the company share from, because it makes no sense. You work in an organization that has, that NBC has oversight over, whatever, however you want to put it. So now saying that a lot of sense. But even if that's the reason they did it, I think it's very, very important. And we should also remind ourselves, if you want to work in these spaces, it's not so much about the person, it's about professional ethics, right? Standards, okay? And there's been a number of reviews of the broadcasting code in Nigeria, and that was long before Rufai even started working. But I hope he learns from this, like he actually act accordingly. I don't think they're telling people not to speak. It's just that when you're always combative, I watched one today. It was actually quite. I was like, if I shame or save it, I would have loved you to listen to it. Like, it's not as if you're fighting. When you have this combative attitude to your guest, it's as if the person has hurt you or makes no sense the way and it's not just one person, but a number of people actually. I mean, the other day we were listening to one with where they were interviewing Shore, and the lady who was interviewing him might as well, she should have actually put on a vest saying obedient. She was just shouting and making a case for Peter Obi, and I was like, like, relax, nobody's fighting you. So I think it's actually quite nice that this is coming out at this point in time. I found the video I wanted you to listen to. Give me a sec. Show on the later. Okay, I'll play later. This one is actually good news. I don't want to play it around this matter. Come on, Lord. House. Kenya. It was an interview with David Umai, where I was asking for cost per kilometer. And David Umai said something that was very, very touching in that interview when he said that you don't understand the question you're asking. And I thought about what he said. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but I thought about what he said and I was like, this makes a lot of sense. I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me as a young person. We just got into uni at the time. When you just enter university, you could shock you say you don't know everything. So I was having a conversation with somebody. I was shocked it was something that had to do with electricity. I didn't know jack about it, but I was using Monforigbe. Like, no, according to this, according to that, I was wrong. And it didn't take the person more than 5 minutes to just, explain to me, for me to now calm down, like, okay. But at least I calmed down to understand. Some of these people just keep shouting. You don't work in that field. Number one, you need to research. And like I said the other day, I hope that folks working in Nigerian TV and radio actually do more research. That's the only thing they say. People are suffering. Ask questions to make sense. You cannot ask because you've done research anything. You're asking, just can you come per square kilometer, as if once they give it to you, all your problems are solved. Anyway, I hope this press release from the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission will help uphold the standards of broadcasting in Nigeria. And all the best to the good journalists. We have a lot of, and we will quickly just take a detour in Ghana. Then we'll come back home in a bit. Just a few minutes in Ghana. Take a listen to the president of Ghana. Take a listen.
Nigeria is of keen security interest to us. If Nigeria does well, Ghana does well. I mean, when you have cousins, 250 million of them, you want them to do well so that 1 million of them don't come drifting towards a small country like Ghana. So every day I wake up, I pray for Nigeria. I say, God, let Nigeria get their act together. And so I remember when a lot of the people in Ghana migrated from Nigeria. They find their roots from the Yoruba kingdoms and all that. And so the Ghana people and all, migrated from Nigeria. And so Nigeria.
All right. So, listening to that is actually quite, it's like, it's cool and not cool. We've got to get our acts together, and hopefully, Ola says, "Lola, good to see you." He says, "I find the statement condescending." Yes, it is, but diplomatic way of saying that you guys should get your acts together. So, it's not so cool, but it is what it is. Okay, let us share Wali. When I saw the Yoruba radio. Recently, Peter Obi granted an interview. I think it was Symphony, and then he has some interesting things to say. I'd like to take a listen to Mr. Peter Obi.
SSA on Peter Obi. So from the present administration who have SSA on P2B. So from the present administration to INEC to party issues, the court, the odds seem to be against their emergence as a candidate and president of Nigeria in 2027. On a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your chances of being Nigeria's president in 2027?
Well, while I will rate my chances, I can tell that what you're even saying, I'm going through worse experience than that. What is happening to me in Nigeria today cannot be described. I can't even tell it to the public because you're looking to where they're killing all avenues in which you can make a living, deliberately so, ensuring that you're left with nothing. And again, do lots of things to make life insecure for you. And above all, fighting to ensure that you do not emerge as a candidate of a party. For me, they're only making me strong.
That was very depressing. Very depressing. How can a leader not be inspirational? How? How do you want to lead people without being able to rouse them? How do you? It's very depressing. I felt really bad listening to it. Not feeling bad for him because I don't have time for all those emotional blackmail, but just wondering how people follow somebody so depressing. So it's saying that, oh, the person who asked the question was saying something about the fact that they didn't want him to win because some people are thinking of having SSA on Peter Obi. Is that important? They don't want him to win. They don't want him to run. And so everybody's against him. Then it's like, oh, if they're against me, they are going to do worse than that. And there's a question that gentleman asked him. I want to play that, and then I want you to listen to leaders are supposed to be able to inspire people, like, oh wow. Anyway, just listen to that question, and I'm going to say something about it. Take a listen again to that interview. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your chances of being Nigeria's president in 2027?
Well, while I will rate my chances, I can tell that what you're even saying, I'm going through worse experience than that. What is happening to me in Nigeria today cannot be described. I can't even tell it because you're looking to where people are probably the most investigated. They're killing all avenues in which you can make a living, deliberately so, ensuring that you're left with nothing. And again, do lots of things to make life insecure for you. And above all, fighting to ensure that you do not emerge as a candidate of a party. For me, they're only making me stronger. Because I believe that I have to fight for the future of society.
Morality, thank you for joining us. Very good question. She says, what was the question again? The question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your chances of emerging as a candidate and the president of Nigeria in 2027? That was the question. The answer was, he's a victim. See what they are doing to me. They will even do worse. They don't want me to emerge as candidate. They are doing this to me, but I'll be strong. I'll be strong. No confidence, no alertness, no inspiration, nothing. no aura, and that leadership, that capacity that you actually, it's not even so much what you have, it's actually how you make people feel around you. Like, we can do this, we can do this. I mean, you could have said something like, you know what, you're asking me on the scale of 1 to 10, I could give myself 7 or maybe 8, even if it's not, like, I have a large base of followership, I have them across Nigeria. They're not just in one particular part, even though they are mostly concentrated in the southeast. But you can find a way to. I mean, you are leading people, not see what they are doing to me. Oh, I have this large, followership base. We're working in ADC. We're working towards having a consensus candidate. And once we have that, I hope it's me. I'm sure, apart from my followership, we're going to have the party backing me up. I'll be able to give Tinubu a run for his money. That's what you say. And I'm not even a political kini. It's crazy. Like, this is the person that people are shouting is the Messiah. Nothing inspiring. Like, just let's people actually feel like you're worth it. I mean, the primaries are happening very soon, so the conversation should be like, even like Timbati, we know, like, once we're done with the primaries, or maybe you have a consensus candidate, whichever one, and if I emerge, with my followership and then the structure of the other people that are coming together to form the coalition, we'll be able to push, like, even from the number 7 over 10 that I have, I'm very sure I'm going to win it. So if I were a member of ADC or an obedient movement, I feel elated, like morale high, want to do something. Not on a scale of 1 to 10, tell us your chances of becoming president of Nigeria in 2027. You see what they have done to me. They will see, what have they done to you? Say they have stopped you from eating. You have business. There are things that one can just keep quiet. Like, it's sad. Like, I've said it several times. I would want to have, number one, I want Tinubu to win, clearly. But number two, it would be nice to have somebody actually say, you know what, more counter this man. Even if they don't win, which I hope they don't, they will be able to keep him on his toes as president. So they will be like a very formidable opposition party. So the party is not just chilling. I mean, think about it. Between 2011 and 2015, what APC did with PDP at the time, nobody has gone to APC since 2015. Nobody. PDP was not ready to be an opposition party. They were just used to winning. They were already saying they're going to be there for, is it 70 or 100 years? They were already looking forward to, longevity without, the kind of structure they require to be able to do it. And now that you have APC, you need someone to say, you know what? I mean, there are things that the president is doing. It's not everything he's doing that is right. It's not everything he's doing that is perfect. There are things you can actually zero in on and say, you've got to do this better. And if he also feels like, okay, there are people watching, there's an opposition party, I've got to, get things sorted. But no, he also be talking Iregbe. So people will just be saying, oh, Rakadede, and to be fair, he's doing well, but he's not perfect. Who should be able to highlight not all this destructive criticism to tomorrow? Just, it's not being contrarian. It's just not looking for something bad in everything. For instance, we listened to Alhaji Abubakar last week, and they asked him, what would you change, in everything that President Tinubu has done if you become president? And the man said, everything. How are you going to change everything? I'm going to change everything. What do you mean everything? So there will be no, we're going to have to reintroduce subsidies since we're changing everything. All these roads we are constructing all over Nigeria, this coastal highway, Badagry, Sokoto Badagry way, all those, we have remove everything because we are changing everything. There's no nail fund. Students are not going to get any loans anymore. All these other things that the government is doing, we're going to have to remove everything because we're changing everything. How do you want to be a formidable opposition party if you are not specific about anything? Because when you say everything, you're really saying nothing. But that's where we are in Nigeria. And these somebody are supposed to be a formidable opponent, saying that, see what they're doing to me. Very childish. But when it comes to playing divisive politics, that's where his voice is loud. And I'm going to play you an example so it doesn't look like I'm just, attacking, because why should we attack after we're not playing football? Take a listen to Peter Obi as he gives us the definition of his chances of becoming president, which of course is divisive, very divisive. Take a listen to this.
WhatsApp sent a WhatsApp sent by Tinubu's group. No, I want to read that. Everybody.
Power glad led.
No.
Okay.
Just read that what it says.
Yoruba, shine your eyes on. If you vote for Peter, is automatically voting for Seaport in South and Southeast. Then Igbos will stop coming to Lagos State to invest. Rather, they will go to Delta and River State. They may even stop building houses in Lagos. It will affect a lot of Yorubas. Yoruba Renu.
This is your context. He don't see the value of let's have something better. He reads all the confusion. And that's it. And he will support it. I'm not sorry, I'm not using it.
No, that's okay.
He will support it.
Okay.
When he comes here and give him money, he said, Jagaban is the best country. Even when the money is not well. That's the problem of the country. That's the problem. Let's ask himself a question. Hey, he will tell you. Somebody said to me, this candidate, they were the people who fought about it to a standstill. So, okay.
This man actually wants to be the president of Nigeria, and a very complex country like ours with so many ethnicities, and of course you also have very sophisticated people. You're going to lead this country, and what you're doing is reading what you call a WhatsApp broadcast that could have been written by the most stupid person off the street, Yoruba Reno. Number one, the things they even said doesn't make sense. Oh, Yoruba, shine your eye. If Peter Obi wins, he will build seaports in South and Southeast. Number one, there are already seaports in South. Number two, there can never be a seaport in the Southeast. And it's not because anybody hates anybody, because God did not give you sea. The same way God did not give Ibadan sea, and He didn't give Sokoto sea. I don't know what this thing about sea, seaport. As if you don't have seaport, you're going to die. What's all this seaport? It's becoming like seaport, not even seaport anymore. So the Yoruba people will vote against Peter Obi because it's going to give them seaports in the South. There are already seaports in the South. Ona is functional. There's seaport in Calabar. Warri is functional. Can they get better? Of course. There's seaport in Port Harcourt. I mean, it's literally in the name, Port Harcourt. There are seaports there. There cannot be seaport in the Southeast because there's no sea there. You can't create. I mean, to have a seaport, first you have to have a sea. You know, there's this this stuff from, I think it was from Amy McPherson, when somebody asked about how she was going to get people to come for her event, and she said it's like a story about how to cook rabbit stew. Number one, you have to get a rabbit. You want to have seaport, the first thing you have to have is sea. You don't have sea, so you can't have seaport. It has nothing to do with people not wanting to vote for you. Then you now say Yoruba, because Igbos will stop building houses in Lagos. I mean, the person who actually wrote that is actually very dumb. You know what? It may not be like I said, I just talk. Listen to it just one more time. At least that particular part where they were reading WhatsApp broadcast message. A presidential candidate is reading that and saying that they found it in Tinubu.
By Tinubu's group. No, read it out. I want to read that. Everybody.
Power glad led.
No.
Okay.
Just read out what it says.
Yoruba, shine your eyes on. If you vote for Peter, is automatically voting for seaport in South and Southeast. The Igbos will stop coming to Lagos State to invest. Rather, they will go to Delta and River State. They may even stop building houses in Lagos. It will affect a lot of Yorubas. Yoruba Renu.
How? If you will stop building the house, that's what people want now. I mean, Lagos is overwhelmed. It's bursting at its seams. It's bursting everywhere. Like, if you want to stop, it's a blessing. What do you mean? No, it may even stop them from building houses. So Yoruba, they'll not come and do business again in Lagos. They'll be going to the Delta. That's what I want to see happen. Why? So that other parts of Nigeria can also develop. I hate that the way they say that in develop, but I guess it's the accent. Other places can also develop. Oh, you get the point, right? Let's spread the development to other places. It doesn't have to all be in Lagos. Why do you think I'm going to have a problem with the fact that you want to build a seaport, elsewhere? And why must the federal government be the one building seaports? Lagos has built Lekki Deep Seaport. The next one now is Badagry Seaport. It's going to be built by Lagos State, not federal government. Ogun State is working with Dangote to build a seaport in Ogun State right now. Ondo State is working with a Swiss consortium to build one, although we've not heard so much about it in a while. Akwa Ibom is building Ibom Seaport, Ibom Deep Seaport, which I'm very proud of, considering I like Akwa Ibom. So, excuse me, all these are not federal government projects. They're state government and private, like PPP, state government projects. Why can't people think beyond federal government doing something for them? But that's not even the real issue. The real issue is that the presidential candidate that wants to govern Nigeria deemed it fit to actually go on camera and talk about the fact that they saw something from one WhatsApp stuff that belongs to Tinubu that any clown could have written. But it's not new. It's not new at all, because in 2013, I have some reports from 2013 about how he ran Anambra State. This is from Onyenkuzi on Twitter. It says, Peter Obi introduced another level of religious politics in the Southeast, and that is very wrong. You know what he's talking about? Anambra is largely Igbo, like mostly Igbo, right? There are other ethnic groups there. Now they're speaking out because people don't really realize. But anyway, it's mostly Igbo. So that means that it's largely homogeneous, like one ethnicity. Even in that place, they found a way to create dichotomy between Anglican and Catholic. That's the person I want to lead Nigeria. Someone says Abga, and that time, this was in November of 2013. Abga seems to be running an anti-Yoruba strategy in its battle with Ngige. How do people on ground perceive this? Do you know what they will call anti-Yoruba? Ngige was an APC. So they called him, I think they called him Tunde or something. They called him a Yoruba person. In other words, they are trying to discredit him by calling him Yoruba governor, even though he's Igbo. Somebody responded to Onyekuzi, said Catholic becomes rep and Anglican takes state of assembly. It works for us that way. And then the gentleman responded, that's different from Peter Obi. If you are not Catholic, you can't be in his inner caucus. It's that simple. Someone said they call APC Yoruba. Yes, they call APC Yoruba party. And when this man was rising, although he was building statues all over the place, but he did a lot of good stuff as well. That's Rocha's Okorocha. They were calling him Fulan Okoro Hausa. I remember having a conversation with someone, I think it should be 2019 or 2020 thereabout. I mean, when Abuja and we're talking, and at the time, right, the most prominent Igbo, like that has this national outlook at the time, was Rochas. Rochas has schools in Jos, in Ibadan, in the east as well, in different parts of Nigeria. He worked with Obasanjo, to fix up the ecumenical center. He had done this. He has this national outlook essentially. So I was like, why are you guys not talking about him? The person was an Igbo. I was like, he's not our own. He's like, why do you call everybody that can be appealing to others? You call them something. It's either they are Fulani Stooges, or they are Yoruba, or they are Okoro Hausa. Why do you do that? Why do you reduce your chances by just looking for clannish people? I still think, right? No, well, now it's Umai. It's Umai. Umai has proven himself, especially with the work he has done in the Ministry of Works. He has. I mean, Okorocha is still there, but Umai is more. To me, I may be wrong, but to me, I think he's the most visible politician from the Southeast. Let something come like an opportunity, they'll vote against him. it has to be somebody that is myopic, somebody that is always looking for a way to divide. It's interesting. But that is where you are going to hear some people tell us about unity and how Nigeria. This was 2013, when he was governor, when Peter Obi was governor. When Abga was busy running anti-Yoruba strategy, saying the person was Yoruba. I want to read something to you from the famous Nazi propaganda minister. That's Joseph Goebbels. He says, accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Nobody has done it better than Obedience and folks from the Southeast. You accuse the other side what you are guilty of. It says, accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. I mean, no Joseph Goebbels. You couldn't have had Nazi without Joseph Goebbels. And I said it several times. I think it was last week we're talking about some of the rhetorics of Azikiwe in the 1940s, that those things were straight out of Nazi playbook. Whether it was Lebensraum or the supremacy or superiority of the Igbo race. Those two things they pushed, and they still push. Maybe they don't even know how they got it. I would just like to tell everybody, you got it from Zeke and some of your educated elites in the 1930s, into late 1930s into 1940s. By 1949, it was a done deal. It was already ingrained in the mindset of the average person from the south, from the Igbo land. As soon as they went to school, if you don't go to school, you are fine. As soon as you go to school like this, you can't go meet them. They can't tell you say now like this. They will tell you two things. Number one, you have a right anywhere. That's Lebensraum. Expansionist agenda, living spaces. Number two is that you are better than everybody. And Zeke didn't only say it, he wrote it down. He will write it when he's reporting events and when he's talking to Igbo people. But when he's talking to Nigeria, I'll tell you that you're all the same. We'll talk about that much later, because today we're discussing is 1951 politics. But we'll get to that in a bit. Before I go on with our news report, now I'm going to go to Ibadan. Something interesting happened in Ibadan over the weekend. But before we do that, I want to read some of the comments, some of your comments in the comment section. So let's go to YouTube and Facebook. Mr. Muidin Anila says, hi, Oluko. I like that. I like the fact that you use Yoruba. Hi, Oluko. I've been following you for a while and I'm so excited to join your live show. More wisdom to you. Amen. Thank you very much, sir. And you are welcome. And then we have this Igbo person who is spamming this place with scripture. Number one, I'm a Christian. And being a Christian is not enough, to be fair. But the Bible you are quoting doesn't make sense to you. You cannot gaslight me. God bless you. I won't mention you because you're not worth it. Adetunji Omotola says, I thought Dino was only a former senator. I didn't know he was also a comedian. Ele. He will win Tinubu. He can't even win his signature cap. Not to, people have mouths in this country. Adetunji Omotola Eja Titeleni. This is fire. This YouTube and Facebook were, on TikTok, as I'm talking, we can be reading and be reacting. But this one's all for our deep. Okay, I know why. They don't have constraints of text, unlike TikTok, where you have to only type so much. They can just type and really deal with people. I'll read it again. Adetunji Omotola on YouTube says, I thought Dino was only a former senator. I didn't know he's also a comedian. He will win Tinubu. He can't even win his signature cap, not to talk of Tinubu himself. Some of you, nobody, we should never hurt you because you will come for people like fire. Thank you for the gift. GK, thanks a lot for the gift. I really appreciate it. Mr. Olatunde Odedero, good evening, sir. Your might says, Dino's private, take that slowly. Your might on YouTube, Dino's private residence has one of the most exotic cars in Abuja, a retired senator. It is well. It is well. People have said he has businesses in different parts of the world. It is well. Until we know exactly what's up. But for now, we'll go with the official story. I think clearly he likes cars. Your might says, no wonder Mr. I put it to you was very calm and cool earlier today in his gossip show. But I don't usually watch it, but since you watched it, I'm glad it's calm. By the way, I don't think it stops you from being firm. I think this is the problem for most people. There's a show. Is it hard something? It's on BBC. Not the one with Mediasa, no. This one. The time they had Obasanjo. I mean, the man went for Obasanjo. Was very firm, right? Asking the hard questions, right? And hard talk. Thank you, Femi Elewa. Hard talk on BBC. Very firm, like he was asking very, very firm and very hard questions. And Obasanjo was up to the task. He had a way around it, you know. Sometimes it was like a spar, like a boxing spar. They will go for each other. It was really nice. You know, you can be firm and still be respectful. You don't hear, I put it to you as if you're in court. Some people wanted to become lawyers, but life happened. What I put it to you. So your mind says, no wonder Mr. I put it to you was very calm and cool earlier today on his gossip show. Someone says there's no audio on YouTube. There is audio. Please check your device. People can hear apparently. But let me check just to be sure. It's fine. Audio is good. Please check your device. Thank you. Nosakari Enabule says, bro, why do you want to control what he says? I don't know. You that you are inspiration. What have you done? Baba, be constructive. Nosakari. I'm not controlling what he says. I'm reacting to how it makes me feel. It makes me feel depressed. And I hate environments, words, atmosphere that can make me feel that way. I have a right to saying that this guy does not inspire nothing. But you know what? It's probably inspiring you. You know, in some people's cases, depression is an inspiration. So if that works for you, that's fine. But it doesn't work for me. Is that okay? God bless you, sir. Let's move on. Wally Olat says, did he say what's happening to me? Yes, that's what he said in that interview. Sir says, bro, you just be tribal, I swear. Your head is not correct. Let me just tell you. Your head is not correct. Somebody did video said, see what they say Yoruba people are doing. Peter B did that video. I just read it out. You didn't have anything to say. I'm the one who is tribal. Your head is not correct. You need mathematical help. Because I don't want to send you to Aru yet. Maybe we'll start with Yaba. What's wrong with these people? You can't react to their shenanigans, but they can do it. But once you speak of, you are the tribal one. I'm tribal. What are you going to do about it? Your head is not correct again. Adamo Risha, how did you know I was going to say Orietigbale? But why do you guys do this? I'm not angry with you. I just find it very, very, very weird that you're not thinking straight. Dio Joseph on Facebook says, we don't even want them in Lagos. So which Yoruba cares if they move away? We don't care. I mean, to be honest, like if people will be glad to have you leave if you want to leave. Like if you want to say it's okay, after all, we all want Nigeria, be. But if you want to leave, nobody will hold you back because no, you will not be missed. Whoever gets that skinny dick should get it. Akintayo Shijoade says, don't forget that they are propagandists. It might be one of them that wrote that thing, but trying to mock Yorubas. It's not like it might be. It was an Igbo person who wrote that thing. You know how I know? The sentiments were Igbo sentiment. No Yoruba person, unless of course that Yoruba person, even though the story about Darugan Kole Koroben, Yoruba, watch your eye, shine your eye. The beginning itself is crass. Anyway, Yoruba, shine your eye. A vote for Peter Obi is a vote for seaports in the south and southeast. There's no Yoruba person who will be against a seaport in the south because they would have known that there are seaports in the south. Oh, if they have an Igbo president, there will be a seaport in the southeast. The only people that look for a seaport in the southeast are Igbo people, and the reason they do that is because they don't know geography. There is no sea. There can't be a seaport. And let me say this. I don't say this out of condescension. It's actually reality. For instance, there's no sea in Ibadan. I like to say Ibadan because Ibadan is Yoruba land. There's no sea in Oshogbo. There's no sea in Ife. Even when Oduduwa needed water and Obokun Obokun had to travel all the way to go and get water from the sea. That's your war of Elisha. And ló fi jẹ́ orúkọ Obokun. Kí ló kọ wọn gan-an? E ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ orúkọ yẹn. Ta ló rántí? Kí ló kọ ọmọ Odùduwà? And Yoruba, you are doing Yoruba history. What's his name? Shekini kan. Just give me a second. I'll remember, or somebody will write it in the comment section. No, it's not Adimula. No, Adimula is the title of Odùduwà himself. Owo Obokun is a title that he took after he became king. Ajaka is from Oyo. You people, this your Yoruba history is something else. So. Ajibogun. It's not Ajobogun. Ajibogun. But thank you. You got me close. Banks was Ajibogun. He had to travel all the way from Ife to go and get Omiokun. The idea that you don't have sea is not a minus. God or your fathers did not like the sea. They stay in a place, and in that place, at least you have gas in Imo State. Although some people tell you that it belongs to another ethnic group, but that's another conversation on its own. But the point is that things you have that you can appreciate, instead of always shouting, "Oh, we don't want, we have support." So Yoruba person is against you having support. To what end? They say, if they have it, they will not leave Lagos. They will not be building houses in Lagos again. You have to be very stupid to think that way now. I don't think any Yoruba can be that stupid. I mean, there are stupid people everywhere, but that level of stupidity is too high. I don't think any Yoruba person will be able to aspire to that level. But let's move on. Abayomi I know on Facebook says, hard talk by Steve. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah. Lila says, Kwara people need help. You are busy with Igbo matter. Please rest. Northern Nigeria don't trust you anyway. Kwara people need help. You can also help them now. You know what, Nigeria? You are wasting away here. Go and make yourself useful. God bless you. Kasim Kolalabawo says, no, there's nothing like Okonbi in Yoruba history. That's just from, there's no Okonbi in Yoruba history. That's just from Samuel Johnson. Great man, but some of those things he wrote in that book, nobody like that. But great book, right? But that particular thing, it ain't true. But we'll talk about that some other time. But I was trying to remember Jibogun actually. All right, let's read some news report before we get to today's topic. It's going to be really nice what we're going to discuss today. But here's something from Vanguard, which I consider irritating. Igbo community backs Makinde, warns against politicization of Olubadan stool. You know what? Let me read it from this one first. Number there's one number. Sherry, I don't know if she, but there are some things that people are doing that makes you think, do people actually think? Igbo people Igbo community backs Makinde, warns against politicization of Olubadan stool. The Association of Igbo Residents in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, has reiterated its backing for Governor Seyi Makinde, warning against what it perceived as coordinated political maneuvers aimed at unsettling the state, particularly in relation to the controversy surrounding the revered Olubadan stool. During a press conference held yesterday in Ibadan, the group, joined by supporters of the governor, voiced apprehension over recent political developments and remarks attributed to former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose. It warned that such actions could undermine the peace and steady progress currently experienced in Oyo State. Delivering his address on behalf of the association, Barrister Undo Ofurena commended the Makinde administration, describing it as inclusive, purposeful, technical issue, just a bit. Give me a second, please. Just going everywhere. Okay. The group criticized Fayose. My device is actually acting up, but we shall read this thing. Good. Delivering his address on behalf of the association, Barrister Ndo Uforina commended the Makinde administration, describing it as inclusive, purposeful, and committed to tangible development across critical sectors. The group criticized Fayose for what it termed undue interference in the affairs of Oyo State, despite holding no constitutional position in the state. You are also interfering. Do you have any constitutional position in the state? It argued that his involvement risks fueling unnecessary political tension. According to the association, there are indications that Fayose is working in concert with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and other political actors to weaken the Makinde-led government, particularly by amplifying disputes linked to the Olubadan stool. Emphasizing the institution's cultural importance, the group described the Olubadan stool as sacred and cautioned against using it as a tool for partisan politics or personal ambition. Are you dumb? What's your business? You be the one to tell the Olubadan how to use his tool. What's your business? Like, do people not understand how life works, how you actually move once you're out of your space? You are telling Fayose, a former governor of Ekiti State, that he has no constitutional role in Oyo State. Do you have a constitutional role in Oyo State? Listen, I support everything. I mean, the way the government of Seyi Makinde, they actually think he's doing very well. That's the thing. So this is not like I hate Seyi. I actually like the way he's running their stuff. I don't know what's going to happen, election time. But whatever is happening between them is happening between them. If you see former Ekiti governor, I'll see if I can find you that video when the Olubadan was talking about Fayose. Fayose grew up in Ibadan now. Went to Polytechnic Ibadan, grew up in Ibadan. Has a house in Ibadan. Has stake in Ibadan. Even if he did not grow up in Ibadan, has no house in Ibadan, has nothing to do with Ibadan, as long as he's Yoruba, when he's talking, you cannot talk and be telling him that he has no constitutional place. What constitutional place do you think you have as an Igbo person to discuss what's happening in Yoruba politics, in Oyo State politics? What kind of rubbish is the kind of things we do in Nigeria? This is what causes rift. When we talk, they say it was Lagos. So Lagos, former capital, I have said several times, the former capital is not what they're discussing today. This is Lagos State, not Lagos former capital. But when they say, oh, Lagos, you're always talking about Lagos. Or your state now. For crying out loud, what will make you, what will make you go into Oyo State and discuss what's happening in their politics and be saying, number one, Fayose has no constitutional role in Oyo State, then the Olubadan should not use his tool. These people are not well brought up. You are telling Kabesi that the stool is sacred, and you are cautioning him against using it as a tool for partisan politics or personal ambition. What's your business? Do I want Kabesi to use it for partisan politics or personal ambition? Of course not. Is that how you talk to a king? By calling press conference and talking as if you are talking to your fathers. I'm like, it has no cultural, like, that's the funny thing. You see, when people move around, right, you're supposed to integrate, understand the culture of your guests, not to go there is an extension of your home. This is Yoruba land. And if you call this tribalism, your head is not thinking straight. It's senseless. Can't be going everywhere, be telling them how they should move their place because you are supporting. I support the governor, just to be clear. I don't know what's going to happen next election, but right now, as it is right now, I like his governance. He has some issues. Nobody is perfect. So this is not about somebody hating on Governor Seyi Makinde. I think he's a fantastic man. He's done some very incredible stuff, right? The circular road, I saw the pictures, fantastic, right? No, even the video, I saw the video. It was really good, okay? Many roads within Ibadan. He has seen a lot of things in Bodija. Fantastic man. I'm very sure he has done things across Oyo State as well. So it's not even about that. It's about this poke-nosing of folks into the local politics of Yoruba people. It's got to stop. It has to stop. It makes no sense. This is how it starts. So we are talking now. They say we are speaking English. But this is how it starts. Meanwhile, you'll be shocked that this both Seyi and Fayose, they will meet. They are politicians. See, listen, let me even say, politicians, they are the worst people to fight on. If you go and fight people on their behalf, now you go suffer. Politicians, there's no permanent friends now, but they have permanent interest. You'll be shocked. You just see them tomorrow, they are holding hands. You have used Otulofenu Kowaya by talking to talking to Olubadan, how they should run. What's your business telling him how you should use this tool? And cultural sensitivities. The Igbo person or Igbo organization will tell Fayose that he has no stake in Ibadan. Who are you? The association also took issue with Fayose's recent remarks on succession politics in the state, stressing that the selection of candidates is governed by the Electoral Act, either through consensus arrangement or primary elections. We did not know. Thank you for informing us. It labeled as unwarranted any suggestion that McKinley had acted inconsistently, maintaining that the governor is under no obligation to impose a successor outside the established democratic process. What if they want to? Do you see your people going to tell people in Anambra or in Enugu or in Ebonyi or Imo or Abia State how they should do their politics? What's all this rubbish that we're doing this? And Alafa. Nobody say wedding, don't say campaign, don't wash or agakiri, no one say wash or. They even have signatories to the document, the signatories to the statement. You cannot, when you are having conversations in ancient spaces, you can't just be shouting constitution, constitution, constitution. You have to think of culture. You have to be culturally aware. Social intelligence is important. Emotional intelligence is important. Not just the fact that you went to school. This is rubbish. I'll put the video out. People that hate it, that's your business. I don't care. This is rubbish now. Meanwhile, let me even play what the Fayose said, and then I'll play what Olubadan said when Fayose visited. You know what? It's not like I support everything Fayose said, though. But it's brothers. Brothers are having issues. Leave them alone. Leave them. Did you not? Both of them were in PDP. They're in PDP. They are both Yoruba people. What's your business? Awala Fasha. Aṣọ tó máa ń wọ̀ kí aṣọ àga tó máa ń wọ̀ ló máa ń sọ pé wọ́n ṣe campaign yẹn gan ara wà lánàá ni ọlọ́mọ yẹn kí gómìnà kan ṣe rẹ̀ ní south west ní election tó ń bọ̀ ìṣá wọn mọ̀ sọ Yorùbá ni lórí báyìí máa ń gbàgbàkúgbà náà nìyẹn ẹgbẹ́ ilé náà this is the former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose when he visited the Olubadan. Take a listen, please.
Who is our father? Again, we are colleagues. Jẹ́ gómìnà nígbà kan náà àwọn tó ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láti jọ́ mẹ́ta nígbà tí mo sọ pé gómìnà fẹ́ query ọba ní kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ sáwọn òjà gómìnà náà dáhùn pé kò sí ní tó jọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ojú ewé rèé mọ́ínmọ́ín rèé àkàrà rèé epo rèé ṣé àrí gbogbo ẹ̀ báyìí ṣé ọ̀rọ̀ òtí bẹ́yìí yọ gómìnà ní kábíyèsí ní a ní yọ kábíyèsí gómìnà fẹ́ yọ kábíyèsí àárọ̀ yìí àwọn tó wà nílé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin àtàwọn kan bẹ̀ dáhùn pé ọba ló fẹ́ yọ gómìnà tí a ti gbọ́ bí tó bá ti yọ gómìnà rí béèyàn bá ti pẹ́ tó ń gé gbogbo èèyàn yóò gé rẹ̀ ìjọ kan ẹnì wá pé mo sọ pé gbogbo gómìnà tí wọ́n ti jẹ níbí tó bá ti kú bí ẹ̀kan parí wọ́n máa ń ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé èkíní nígbà tí àkàlà fẹ́ lọ gbogbo kágbésẹ̀ kágbé níbi kágbé tó dà fún parí Àjùmọ̀bí náà ẹ̀gbọ́n wa ni wọ́n púpọ̀ ẹ̀ náà dàrú nígbà tó fẹ́ máa lọ akíndé ní ọkọ̀ sí ṣàgbó ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn yọ ẹsẹ̀ nínú òkun màálù yóò bá bọ̀rọ̀ ìdára Olúbàdàn ìlọ́yà ní dìpọ̀ yìí jẹ́ o Ọlọ́run á ràn gbogbo wa lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀sìn.
That was Ayo Fayose after his meeting with the Olubadan. I'd like you to listen to what the Olubadan said at that meeting. That's why you know that when you move to people's spaces, just calm down. See how they run their things. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing. This is not an Igbo matter. I don't know how he became a association of Igbo residents. The Yoruba residents go and not talking. It's at Onriwa they'll come and explain to us who should speak and who should not speak. The audacity is actually unnerving. But 1 second, I want to play you something from Kabisi's speech when Fayose visited. Someone says Fayose grew up in Ibadan. Of course he did. Grew up in Ibadan. Went to school in Ibadan. But he's the person that traveled last year that wants to tell him what to say and what not to say. And doesn't mean he's right. Just to be clear. I'm not saying Fayose is correct. He may be right. He may be wrong. That has nothing to do with you. I want you to listen to Kabisi. Just give me a second. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, take a listen to this.
ẹ sọ pé kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n á sọ pé olùbàdàn gan ló ń bá wọn jà so yẹn gan ni a fi dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ ọmọ Ìbàdàn tó lọ sí Ajẹ́lẹ̀ lẹ́kìsì tó dẹ̀ ti padà sílé incidentally that is the truth o.
ẹjọ́ ìjọba náà tó bá
yóò jẹ́ nígbà tó ń kálukú dé Ìbàdàn ló yàtọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ Ìbàdàn ń kálukú dé síbì náà ni díẹ̀ nìyẹn tó yẹ pé bá a ṣe ń jọba tí ó yàtọ̀ sí gbogbo báwọn èkó ṣe ń jọba lẹ̀ Yorùbá torí pé tàn án jọ mi nù torí pé Fáyẹmí náà ti wálé o ó ti padà wálé o Akérèdọ́lù náà padà wálé kó tó kú o Àgàgù náà padà wálé kó tó kú o so ibi ìnílé gbogbo wọn Daniel náà sọ pé SW8 so ní àwọn ọdún bá dẹ̀ ti ní SW kẹ̀rẹ̀ pé ọmọ Ìbàdàn gidi ni ọmọ gbogbo Ìbàdàn nù ọdún bá ti ní SW bẹ́ẹ̀ màkú àbídùgbẹ̀ so Yorùbá ní nǹkan tí that's why Ìbàdàn is what it is. Ibadan has got a lot of potentials. Nobody says that anybody who has been born or bred in Ibadan should not aspire to any position. So I will not be against those people who contribute to Ibadan to be recognized and to have the opportunity of the Republic of Ibadan. And all of them are in support that we should have Ibadan State. All of them. Because they said that they will prefer to align with Ibadan State than to align with Oyo State. Because Ibadan is where they were born, Ibadan is where they go, and it is Ibadan where they prosper. And we are grateful that they always remember home.
That was Kabisi. And that's the person that this one says should not talk in Ibadan. I was telling you that Ibadan not BC, Ibadan not Dagba. You know, but there's something that Dr. Badu wrote in the comment section. It's very true. It's actually from a book that Awo published in 1947, Path to Nigerian Freedom. Awo says, and I'll read it to you. And I want to say this: a complex structure like Nigeria, a complex country like this, like Nigeria, has to take this thing into cognizance, or else, someone says even Busui in Ibadan, but I was born and bred in Ibadan. Like, we'll go to Lagos for holidays, but Ibadan was what I mean. We would go, like when we're younger, we'd go to Lagos for holidays. When we even going to Lagos, we're going to Lagos State, because I remember my aunt would say, I think that was actually when I started noticing that there's a difference between Lagos and Lagos State. Because she said, Raja Leko. You know, but I was born and bred in Ibadan. Traveled to Lagos for holidays, but Ibadan was born. And the funny thing is that Amayara wa Nosha, but think back to Koja me. Number one, as I'm Ibadan Like if let's something happens in I used to live in Akwa Ibom. Something happens in Akwa Ibom. I'm not the ones that will now come and tell them how they should run things. I'm not EBB. I'm not Efik. I'm not Oron. I'm not from Eket. I don't know anything about how they do. I'm not from that place. You respect them. I lived there and I had a great time and I knew my boundaries. If they have issues, even if I'm supporting somebody, you can't bring it to the open. You've got to be covert. If you have to support anybody, you've got to be covert. And this is what has been happening to them in Lagos. You come around and say, oh, we support this one. And then you perpetually find yourself in the opposition. What if the person you are openly supporting as an ethnicity loses? In other words, you have constituted yourself as a political organization rather than as an ethnic group. What's your business taking one position above the other? What if the other one loses and the other one wins? Now we think that Igbo person, this is Igbo party. That's what's happening in Lagos politics for people who don't understand. It's not hate for an ethnicity. It's an ethnicity that doesn't understand basic etiquette. You are joining a party. Even Yoruba people in Yoruba land, they are very careful how they split themselves. That's why you discover that Lagos, Peter Obi won, Osun, Atiku Abubakar won. And this is Yoruba land though. But we know how to you don't just put everything inside one basket. In our own land, let alone in a strange place. Where you're supposed to actually be very tactful. Like you can, some of you will support this, which is what is sensible, to be honest. If you are a pressure group or an ethnicity in a foreign space, you've got to divide yourself. That's what the Jews do in America. That's what you do. You will be able to say that you as an ethnicity, but if one loses and you're in both, at least you know the conversation is political, not ethnic. Nobody is saying, oh, see what Igbos are doing against a party. There's nothing like that, because there are Igbos in PDP, there are Igbos in APC, there are Igbos in ADC. Just like what's happening in Yoruba politics right now. Yoruba people in all these political parties, they will all fight it, they will fight and slug it out. Even I say it, you can join any political party as a Yoruba person. APC is not it's not a Yoruba party. You can join APC, ADC, SSN, SY, anything, Accord, anything, what we could join, SDP or anything. You go and play it. Not that you will now say, I mean, unless of course you're discussing certain things, which is not part of this conversation, like what happened in 1999 when we're like AD. We did not do that in 2003. That's why we lost 5 out of 6 states. But that's water under the bridge. The point is where we are right now. I'm a queen but bí mo yẹn sọ ń ta gan báyìí sìn ó ṣe láwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tán máa tí mo lè sọ létí mi lè sọ ń ta inú ilé làwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan wà níta nǹkan tá lè sọ ń gbòòrò lélẹ̀ gbogbo ẹjọ́ gbogbo party tó bá ti wù yín o join any party you like. That's the one for the public. In private, and this does not mean that you are being hypocritical. It means you have sense. Do you tell all your family issues outside? Does that mean you are a hypocrite? I don't get it. These guys just go around constituting nuisance. What's your business talk? Anyway, let me read something from Papa's book, Path to Nigerian Freedom from 1947. Papa saw tomorrow. It says here, we must not wait until the situation becomes unduly complicated by long initial friction and irritation. It don't happen already. Already, there are enough signals to those wise. Strictly speaking, the political structure of any particular national group is primarily their own domestic concern. But Boshin be a wobomini. Boshin Joba ní Ìbàdàn ó yàtọ̀ Boshin Joba ní ìlú bòmí. Mi ò lè sọ pé mo jẹ́ ọmọ fẹ̀sìn kí n wá lọ Ìbàdàn. Bó ti yẹ pé mo jẹ́ pé Ìbàdàn náà ti bí mi ó mi Ìbàdàn mo mú dàgbà. Kí wọ́n sọ fún wọn Ìbàdàn pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe yẹn kọ́ ọ bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ́ ṣe báyìí. Ìgbà yẹn wàá gbọ́ ìtàn agboolé yín. So even on the basis of town to town, city to city, you understand that people will govern themselves based on their domestic reality. So when you transpose that to Nigeria conversation, then it becomes on ethnic basis, because we do ethnic stuff. There are things we do as ethnicity or as an ethnicity. There are things that we do as towns. The fact that we have a common identity as Yoruba people does not remove the uniqueness of each subgroup. But see, this is actually very complex. It's not complex to you as a Yoruba person because you woke up and you saw yourself in it and you are working in it. To the outsider, it's very complex. That we can say we are all Yoruba. Let me give you an example. Somebody was just being a nuisance the other day and says, Yoruba people want to break out of Nigeria because they have an anthem. Me, I found that very strange. So I was asking, do you not have an anthem where you come from? Say, Yoruba people have an anthem. I play Yoruba anthem every day here. I play Nigerian anthem every day. And in my mind, they are not contradictory. It doesn't mean I hate one. So I said, why do you think Yoruba people having an anthem is a problem? What if I told you that every Yoruba state, every state in the Southwest has their own separate anthems? At least 3 of them have their own anthems apart from the general one. And that even in our state, many towns within those states have separate anthems. But all of those things do not change the fact that we still have one anthem that unites all of us. People, why can't people understand that you can have that? Your state can have an anthem. I mean, you not even can. They do in Yoruba land. Our states have anthems. Our towns have anthems. But as a collective, we also have an anthem, which is what it should be. So the point I'm trying to make is that you can't come from somewhere now and say that you are singing anthem near Yoruba. It's not in English and it doesn't really make me feel cool. I don't care whether you feel cool or not. You can be cool or you can look for hell and go and be hot. The point is that this is how we want to do things. That's a Yoruba saying. It means that what's acceptable here may be a taboo somewhere else. But it doesn't mean that we should stop it because you're uncomfortable with it. You've got to understand how to move. I don't know. So back to Papa's book. It says here, strictly speaking, the political structure of any particular national group is primarily their own domestic concern. The others may criticize it in the same way as French and Russians may criticize the British Constitution, but they have no right to try to interfere effectively in the shaping of such a constitution. But this is exactly what is happening in Nigeria now. The Igbos, for example, this is 1947, no? The Igbos, for example, unused to having chieftains, cannot understand why the Obas in Yoruba land or the emirs in the north should be entitled to the positions they occupy. On the other hand, the autocracy of the emirs cuts the Yorubas, thinking it is their business actively to work to bring about a drastic change in these constitutions, which was a mistake that was made in 1959. This is certainly not exactly the mistake, but that's what the North thought we were trying to do in 1959. This is certainly not the correct attitude. But as long as every person, I'll tell again, but as long as every person in Nigeria is made to feel that he's a Nigerian first and a Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa next, each will feel the need to poke his nose into the domestic issues of the others. The only thing of common interest to all Nigerians as such, and in which the yoke must be acceptable as that of any other, is the constitution of the central or federal government of Nigeria. The constitution of each national group is the sole concern of the members of that group. You don't even need to write this thing down for a Yoruba person to understand. But thank God that they wrote it down in 47. We're still talking about it in 2026. It's going to be 80 years next year. By the way, he finished this book in 45, I think. So it's been about 80 years already. Published in 47. It's amazing. It's amazing how you love me. Bang, 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 bang. Anyway, all of that to say that that we are all in one Nigeria does not mean that you should be going everywhere, be putting out in things that don't concern you. E.g., this particular issue. And guess what happened? I'm going to read something to you from Nation, The Nation. Makinde Olubadan, issues resolved. External forces defeated. CCII. The Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, CCII, has confirmed that recent issues between Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, have been amicably resolved, declaring that external forces that attempted to escalate the situation have been defeated. I don't know who the external forces are, but the council spoke in a statement issued on Sunday by its publicity secretary, Kola Olomide, following concerns over tensions between the governor and the monarch. Quoting the CCII President General Ajeni Ajewole, the statement explained that the disagreement had been addressed through internal dialogue and traditional conflict resolution mechanisms in Ibadan land. The statement reads in part, quote, the issues between Governor Makinde and the Olubadan have been resolved amicably and the external forces have been attempted. And I'll take that slowly. Start again. The statement reads in part, quote, the issues between Governor Makinde and the Olubadan have been resolved amicably and the external forces that attempted to create a crisis around the situation have been defeated. End of quote. Let people do their things. And I'm not speaking because I think what you're saying is going to make any point. It's just because what we are experiencing in Lagos, we have experienced it in Akure, that made the DG ban Ezendibo in Akure. So this is not about a Lagos thing. It's about Yoruba land. And the funny thing is, I don't know why you guys even flex in Yoruba land. Please do this thing in Sokoto now. Make statements in Kaduna now. Please now. Show that you are one Nigeria now. Do it in Kano. When the Emir was having issues in Kano, I didn't hear you guys speak up now. Emir Sanusi. When he was having the issues in Kano, I didn't hear you guys talk. Like, speak up, say something, prove that you are one Nigeria. Tell the Emir, tell the governor how to behave. If your head meets you at home, that would be a blessing. Our politicians should stop wearing all this costume to go and be doing campaign. It doesn't mean anything. We have to be telling ourselves the truth. It's not about hate. It's about see, let me say it this way. And it's not like it's more about cultural evolution. Okay? There are people, for instance, would you hear Hausa talk like this? No. Why? And we've been together for longer than Yoruba and Igbo. As we met in Yoruba land, it never reached 100 years. With Hausa, it don't pass 500. Okay? Whether they did for Yoruba land or we did for their own space, we don't did there for long too. Okay? And nobody say they pull out for waiting no concern you. I know I'm spending time on this, but it's important because it's also that we as Yoruba people, we don't understand our neighbors in this country. We think we are at the same level of evolution, and we are not. I mean cultural evolution. I'm not saying you're not Homo sapien. Everybody's human. Yeah. But culturally, we are at different levels of evolution. And that's why some people think that when you wear their costume to campaign to them, it's you pandering to them, telling them how much you need them. In reality, you don't need them. If you get your people to vote, you will win. Would it be nice to have other people support you? Yes. Is it bad to wear costume of other ethnicities in Yoruba land? In reality, let me put it this way. Technically, no. Okay? Ideally, no. Sense of inclusion, right? Inclusivity. But in reality, it is wrong. Because some people think that attitude of inclusiveness is a product of weakness. Therefore, they capitalize on it to talk rubbish. It happened in Lagos. What's it? You think, I mean, there's nothing wrong. If I want to run for governor of or your state or Osun State or Lagos State to but the question is, what they always wear just Igbo and Hausa? How come they're not wearing clothes that belong to Efik and Ibibio? Because I really like those people. I don't see them wear Ibibio clothes. I don't see them wear Tiv. They have this very lovely black and white fabric. I don't see all these politicians wear those ones. What makes you think it's just 3 ethnic groups in Nigeria? Here's the point. It gives you a sense of inclusivity, like the person is also part of us. But once the person misinterprets your gesture, it's no longer their fault if you continue. It's now your fault. It means that from their own cultural perspective, you're weak. And here's the point. Whether you wear costume or you don't wear costume, if they're not going to vote for you, they will not. Did they vote for the Governor Wambi, Babajide Sanwo-Olu? Did they vote for him? Did he not wear costume? Pandering on me. Like I said, there's nothing wrong, right? If it's to show that we are all together. But once the guest is, I don't know if he's misinterpreting my gesture as a sign of weakness, whatever it is I'm doing to give him inclusivity, I'm going to have to stop it. Not because I hate him, but because I need to work with him where he is. Do you get what I'm saying? This is not like you hate. You get what I'm saying? Like you look at a person, you love people based on their own definition of love. In the beginning, you love based on what you think love is. When they show you pepper, you begin to ask them, what's your love language? You read that book now, Gary Chapman, I think. You start asking about love languages. What's your love language? Is it quality time? Because you're going to bring gifts and the person doesn't really like gifts. You are expressing your love based on your own understanding of love. The person that wants to receive it has to receive it based on their own understanding of love. So if you are giving them something, as expensive as it might be to you, it may mean nothing to that person. So what do? You don't keep forcing it. You adjust. You keep them where they belong. You respect you. Everybody is in love. Everybody, we are all children of God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. But there's no anything that makes you think as if you have any say in politics in Yoruba land. This is why I say that be Nigerian, but don't subsume Yoruba identity in the Nigerian identity. Why? Because those who tell you to do so are after something, and it's not for your own well-being. I'm Nigerian, I'm Yoruba, and both are cool. All this Nigeria, they will tell you that there's no ethnicity. You will be thinking that I've said it before, I'll say it again. Oh, there's no ethnicity. We are all one. We are all one. I learned that thing from Zeke. Zeke is a very wise man. No, not wise, a very smart. He's actually quite, I don't want to use negative words, but an interesting person. He wrote a book in 1934. The Renaissance Africa. I read it last week, right? He said that the Renaissance Africa must go beyond ethnic labels. No ethnic identity, no ethnic affinities, because all those things will bring... Oh, no, sorry, I've already mentioned the book. I'm going to read it so you see how interesting that man was. Since we're talking about Zeke today, we might as well just read this as well. This book, that man was quite interesting. And I'm trying not to use anything negative because, I mean, regardless, even if I don't like what he said, it's still an agbalagba. Listen to what Zeke said in 1934. Tribal appellations. This is from the book called The Renaissance Africa. It says here, let the Renaissance Africa take upon himself the burden of looking at his fellow African as a man. Nothing more, nothing less. Tribal appellations cause tribal idiosyncrasies. These lead ultimately to vanity and superciliousness and disharmony. A regenerated social order must come. Fanti or Ga, Temne or Mende, Yoruba or Ibo, Bantu or Tuareg, Bubi or Hausa, Jollof or Kru, all are Africans, all are human beings. A man's a man for that. In Lagos, so we may assume that because the name is not Olu or Ade or Kende, it might be Ibo. They write it in front of it is Edo or Sareme in bracket. Edo. Don't think that is one of us. But you said tribal appellations bring tribal idiosyncrasies and all that, Oyinbo. By 1949, Zeke was bold enough to speak in Aba, Igbo Federal Union, World Congress. He said to them, the God of Africa has specially created the Igbo nation to lead the children of Africa from the bondage of the ages. How did God specially, when did God specially create you? Before you say we should forget our tribal affinities and appellations and idiosyncrasies, or after? So what are you hearing? You are hearing master race, Aryan race. God has specially created them to lead the whole continent. But the rest of us in the continent must not talk about ethnicity anymore because we are one. Pan-Africanism. You're all our son. That thing has not changed, just to be clear. Whatever they said, they still say. Don't get carried away by we are all working for unity. I like unity, but unity where everybody will know in boundary. How do you interpret that? Just because I'm your father. Let me not use let me use brothers. All right, just because two brothers have like a farm or have a huge farm, I don't even know how to say it in English language. What is that, Pamilori? The point is that there's need for boundaries. right? Even if we share bloodlines and we have a farm, there will be boundaries that will demarcate, that will show exactly where I stop, where my ownership of the land stops and where yours begin. We can't just say, oh, we're all together. No, there has to be boundaries. There has to be clear boundaries. May God give us understanding. All right, I'll bring people up at this point. We'll have some reactions. Then we will now have today's session. Hopefully, by the way, these reactions, just 3 people will come up. It will not be very long. And I'll read some comments and then we'll respond to the video we started on Friday. Okay? Ẹkáàbọ says on TikTok, trust everyone. Excuse me. Trust everyone, but make sure the cards are cut. Yeah, you're about to talk with Akibani. Excuse me. Yes, you're about to say Akibani Tanka Fanini Tanya. And Thomas, may God bless you as you interpret for us in the comment section. But I'll bring people up. We're going to keep it to 2 minutes so that we can get to today's topic. And if possible, we'll bring people up much later. Okay? So we have 3, but there are now 4. Please keep it short. Okay? We start with Adekomi. As soon as you get up, please mute so we don't have interference. Please mute. Adekomi, please mute.
Can I talk? Can I?
Not yet, please.
Oh, okay.
Adekomi, are you there? Adekomi, okay, I don't think he's there. Let's go to Adeko now, since Adekomi is not. You're here, okay. 2 minutes,
sir.
please.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, I don't really have much to say. You see, it's so unfortunate that, thank God for the good work you are doing. And just like I do tell my people, we might not have a regional government like we want, but definitely we will have a regional structure in such a way that we will also achieve what we would have achieved with regional governments. Why did I say regional? Why did I start my submission this way? Is because, in a multi-ethnic, ethno-linguistic country like Nigeria, we need to build a system whereby there will be unity, but at the same time, we all have to respect our boundaries. And either we like it or not, we have to go back to what Paul said, right? And I'm always staging this challenge anywhere I am, either on ground or online. Tell me one multi-ethno-linguistic country like Nigeria that is operating this fraudulent unitary system we claim to operate. At the same time, the country is working. Just tell me one multi-ethno-linguistic society like Nigeria that is operating what we are operating. At the same time, the country is working. You see, so we must respect boundaries, even as Yoruba. Sure, you understand? Even as Yoruba, we must respect boundaries. How much more outsiders? I'm glad that the issue between Governor Makinde and Olubadan has been resolved, because Toba Jekpe, what the rumors later happened, Osheleni Kano, Osheleni, that's a threat to our traditional institution. And I'm glad such a thing ended up not happening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Adekomi. I really appreciate your submission. And what you just said right now made me remember something that Kemi said a while back, and people got a bit angry. I think it's because people don't understand where she's coming from. Let me read the statement from Kemi Badenoch. Or is it Kemi Bidnock? Kemi Bidnock, I guess. Okay. I find it interesting that everybody defines, I'll take that slowly. I find it interesting that everybody defines me as being Nigerian. I identify less with a country than with a specific ethnicity. That's what I really am. I have nothing in common with the people from the north of the country. The Boko Haram, where the Islamism is, those were our ethnic enemies, and yet you end up being lumped in with these people. Now, Here's the thing. You don't even have to live in the UK. Just study. If you, as a former colony of the United Kingdom of Britain, if you study the system they have there, and you look at your country, you see how warped things are. And we're going to do a session this week. We said something last week where we read a speech by Papa Awolowo, then we discuss it. So we're going to do more of that. We're going to do one about ethnicity this week. The point is, if you see a Scotsman, they are more. I read something from Sean Connery a while back. They are very assertive about their Scottish identity and heritage, even more than the British identity. It doesn't stop them from being British, right? But they want to assert their Scottish heritage. The English proclaim, and that's why what happens in those places, if those things happen in Nigeria, one clown from one bush will just be calling you tribalist, tribalist. I've said it before, but it's been a while, so let me say it one more time. Not one more time. Let me just say it again. I'll just say it. But I'll say it this way. Let me paint a picture. Think for a second, you're English, right? And you are in a stadium, you're watching a match. Is the English versus Scottish team, right? World Cup. You know, when you go to World Cup, there's no British team. You only have British team where you're having Olympics. But if you're going to football World Cup, you have Britain needs one. Sorry, England, there's English team, there's Scottish team, there's Northern Ireland. In fact, there's within that country there are 4 teams. There's English, Welsh, Scottish, and the Northern Irish, right? But of course, outside the UK, you still have Irish team separate from the Northern Irish to the UK. If you have something like that in Nigeria, they will tell you that you are a bigot. Someone says England won the World Cup in '66, not Britain. Yes, Britain cannot win World Cup. Only England can, because England is a nation. Britain is a nation state. The UK is a nation state. Is that a sovereign entity? All right. But the constituent units, so to speak, are nations within their own right. The EPL we talk about is not the British Premier League. It's English Premier League. If I start Yoruba Premier League today, you will see some of this. The league in Scotland is from the one in Wales. But if you do it in Nigeria, it has to be Nigerian league. Who told you that there must be a Nigerian Premier League? You are forcing a national identity where you know that you are not the same. Does that mean that UK has now broken since they have English, Scottish, Welsh, they have their own separate? Does that mean they are not united? Are you as united as them? Told you we're tribalists, you're a tribalist, you're a tribalist. It doesn't make sense if you think about it. There are thank you, Sinchin. Some of the laws are different. Even the design of the currency in Scotland is different from the one in England. It's the same currency, but they're able to also add some, flavor. It's like the other day I was having a conversation. Someone said, I was listening to some guys say, "Oh, these Yoruba people are very tribalistic." Can you imagine? And there's always one ethnicity that's always seen everybody as tribalistic. Afishini. Oh, these Yoruba people are always very tribalistic. Can you imagine? I went to go to school in Ekiti, and they said that there's school fees for indigens. Why are we talking about indigens in Nigeria? Are we not supposed to be united? Are you not supposed to be thinking? All over the world, people know something called boundaries and benefits of being from a particular place, except certain people. If you are English and for some reason you decide to go to school in Belfast, you will not pay the same tuition fee as an Irish person. You also be closer to £10,000. He's paying about 4,000 plus. If you go to Aberdeen, let's say you want to go to Scotland, the Scottish person doesn't even have to pay anything. You are British, you are from Wales, you will pay 9,600 and something pounds. You can fact check. This is not go and verify. You can, in fact, you can even go and look. You will pay. Does that mean that the Irish is tribalistic towards the English? No, he's from there. There are some rights that you get, some benefits, because this is my father's space. I have some rights here that you are not supposed to have. When I come to your space, there are some rights I'm not supposed to have in your space. Just like if you come to my house right now, you can't just move into my bedroom because I like you. Who are you? Well, actually, there's a person like that that can move into my bedroom. But that person knows themselves. You get, it's not like a general thing. You can't just go to another person and say, oh, you have to prove that you're a good man. You have to prove that you're a good man. Open your house and let everybody come and live there. How rubbish is that? Everything I just said about the UK, one day we're going to have a proper conversation about it. But think about it for a second. If you haven't talking about something like that in Yoruba land or in Nigeria, you hear Hausa Premier League. Some people will be telling you that they are tribalistic. Meanwhile, these were people who had city-states before Nigeria got into the mind of the person who named you Nigeria. Before their father's father was born, they were already having city-states in the north. But they should lose the outside identity because they want to make you feel good in the name of one Nigeria. The kind of nonsense we ask for in this country, we have to redefine unity because we are not even as united as United Kingdom. So what are we talking about? So I like what I think that's the context that Kemi Badenoch was coming from. Kemi Badenoch, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Kemi Badenoch, I think that's where she was coming from. That she's more about her ethnicity than her nationality because Nigeria is an artificial creation. I like it. I think it can work, but it can only work if it is true with itself. Right now, we are joking. We are working based on assumptions and unnatural. Having said that, we're going to go to the next speaker. I think we just lost YouTube. Oh dear. Okay, it's back now. Let's go to the next. But yes, Adekomi, doctored unity. You see, sorry. I'm very passionate about ethnicity and ethnic identities because I think when you acknowledge the reality, you're able to build a nation. I love Nigeria, but Nigeria cannot work the way it is constituted. It can't. You always have people shouting they want Biafra, they want some people you say they want to go. I also want to go. People always want to go because they feel constrained. They feel, and the funny thing, some people that are even shouting they want to go, they don't want to go anywhere. They're just using it as an opportunity to. Anyway, you get the point. Here's the thing. There are two major ways. There are others, but there are two major ways that countries are formed, or ethnic identities, or nations are formed. Let me say it that way. There are two major ways that nations are formed. Number one is through conquest. Right? Number two, which doesn't usually happen, but has happened in a number of places, it's through, there's a word I'm looking for, consensus. Okay? They will agree. Like what happened in Singapore, they agreed. This is how we're going to build this nation. Or you conquer. And even the Singapore example I just gave right now, 75% are Chinese. In China is the first one, is 92% is Han Chinese. You just say, oh, China, there are so many, there are 1 billion people. How can they run like that? In Nigeria, we're just very You are looking at the numbers, you're not looking at the percentages. If Nigeria, let's say, we are 200 plus million, right? We have more problems than China because China has one dominant ethnicity. The Han, 92%. You don't even have one up to 30%. 20-something, 17, 6, 3, 2, 1, and so on and so forth. So the point is, this is the third way you can have a nation, where you can never have a nation that way. But you think you have a nation where you're joking. It's the third way, where you are brought together through colonization and by an external force. It brings you together and is the only one that can run you. You know when people say that, oh, it would have been nice if we didn't have independence, Nigeria would have developed. They say it a lot. The reason they are saying it is because they don't understand that the person that forced you together is the only one that can keep you together the way they force you to be together. The administration of your space is dependent on their own design. You can never run that system the way they did. You cannot. Why? You are within the system. They are without. They are looking outside in. They are moving the pieces, right? And they are telling you, they have designed the system to work for them, not for you. If you are within that system, you cannot make that system work for you based on their own design. You have to change the design, which is why we have to say to ourselves, Nigeria can work, but we've got to redesign it. And that thing is what Europeans did. I want to ask you to read one document, read about something, okay? Please read about it. Read about the Westphalia Treaty. That's what Europeans did to restructure their own place by themselves, not following what Rome did as an empire. Of course, there was a lot of gap between Roman Empire and Westphalia Treaty, just to be clear. There are many other groups. There was only Roman Empire, and so on and so forth. But the point I'm trying to make is that, so the Westphalia Treaty, they had to become grown. You get what I'm saying? Nigeria, we are teething, we are big. Many, not we. Some groups in Nigeria are babies. Some are just waking up to what it looks like to see the light. You have been working in the sun all like last how many centuries, and you expect we're going to be one nation? That's a joke. So our government, our politicians, educated people, the country can work, but we've got to change the status quo. We've got to turn things around, and we have to agree, admit, acknowledge our differences, and build accordingly. Thank you very much for listening to that long Turinchi. Let's go to the next speaker. That's Adeglo. Good evening, Adeglo.
Good evening, sir.
Ẹkáàbọ, ma.
Ẹkáàsán, sir. Happy.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
You know, this Indigo, whatever, that are holding a meeting, I really don't blame them. Our lawmakers, especially the governors that we have now, they are the one elevating them, making them feel like they are part of us and they have a special place in Yoruba land. Like there's one Igbos in Makinde's cabinet now. The Makinde is, well, according to what I heard, that is the one that want to nominate to take over him. So these people that came out, they came out to represent their son. That's why they are warming up to the position that given to them, or is about to give to them. That's why they feel that they need to come out to make their own statement as well, or to introduce. It's like they are testing the mic. Our people, thank God for what you are doing to enlighten a lot of people like me. But our lawmakers, they don't understand. To them, everything, whatever it's going to take them to get a number. If they have to pander to these people just to get votes, they are pandering to them. And by doing that, they are surrendering our sovereignty to them. And they refuse to realize that. One thing I said to one of them is that last week is that when they say, because many of us don't vote, Yoruba don't vote. So in order for them to get votes, they have to go to Igbo's community. By going to Igbo's community, those one will now asking for, before they vote for them, they'll be asking for key positions. That like it's like they are using them as a bargaining tools to get to whatever they want to attain in Yoruba land. But what these people don't realize is that by doing that, they are disposing us further. But after a while, and they are empowering these people. They are voting for you. You are putting them in high places. Once they finally get to that place, feel comfortable, they will not vote for them anymore. They will be demoted. They will be ridiculed. So our lawmaker needs to wake up to understand what is at stake. And reason many Yoruba don't vote for them is that they don't get, especially in Lagos, the only thing that you benefit as a Yoruba in Lagos is that you are a Yoruba. Most of key places, they have been taken over. A lot of market women has been displaced. So when it's time when you are looking for to vote is when you be looking for the indigenes period. You start looking for indigenes to vote for you. And when they refuse to come out and vote for you, you will go and start pandering to these people. So our lawmakers are the one giving these people so much power to make them feel like they are part of us. Something similar is going on in maybe Ondo State as well. Many of them now they are contesting for either governorship or House of Reps. They are our Yoruba politicians. They are the one elevating them because they maybe along the line when they are looking for vote, they already promised them. So we need to talk to these people to wake up to the danger that is glaring at us.
Thank you.
That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read some comments on Facebook. Before I do that, I'm going to read some comments on Facebook and YouTube. But before I do that, I want to have Prof. Remy. You want to say something?
Yes.
Prof. Shawa.
Yes, Omowa. This I want to confirm from the speaker. Is this who I think it is? Adeglo. Is Adeglo still there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Or maybe it's not the person.
I'm still
maybe it's
here.
not.
But hello?
Hello?
How would she know if she's the one?
Is it the person I think it is?
I don't know you, sir.
Okay. Is this Musa?
Musa, no.
Okay. Okay, yeah. The voice kind of very, very similar, but don't worry.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Right. Okay. But obviously, thanks.
Thank
yeah. Yeah. Just wanted. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yeah.
That's the SEO. All right, let's read some of the things on Facebook and YouTube. Your mind says, who could have imagined a man who called some people structure of criminality now hobnobbing with them? I think he's talking about Peter Obi earlier. Adiremi Oladipo on Facebook says, the mistake some of the Igbo people make is that they don't learn the act of sensitivity to the cultural differences in places they sojourn. I think the mistake occurred in Ghana and South Africa. Yeah. Again, it's cultural. It's not that they are bad people, just to be clear. They're not bad people. It's just the expression of their cultural reality. It doesn't mean they are terrible human beings or anything. People usually do this thing, they are bad. It's not so much about being bad. It's about your cultural evolution. You cannot act beyond your awareness. And that's the issue. Omolara Ogundari on YouTube says Ibadan is home to Awon to Jire. Yes, ma'am. Babs Alaba is responding to Nosa, who was talking earlier. He says here, it simply means you are overly senseless. Can Igbos come to your Edo and take sides with a party, constituting themselves into an opposition? You call him tribal for what even kids know is the proper thing to do. So, just so, buttress that, it's not that Igbos don't have, you cannot exercise their political rights. It's that when you move to people's places, remember you're a citizen, you're not an indigent. Don't try and get involved in what they are doing politically. Just maintain your lane. Vote. Be voted for. You can't even be voted for Yoruba land, to be fair, because you're not really, we're not doing that. We've tried it before, it's not. Anyway, the point is that once you constitute yourself as the opposition, you will not be treated like an ethnicity. You'll be treated like an opposition party. And it is not good for you. It doesn't affect me one bit. It does not affect a Yoruba person one bit. If you as an ethnicity, you live in a particular place, but you are not aware enough to spread your, Ecclesiastes says, spread your bread, or cast your bread on many waters. You don't have to cast your stuff on many waters. You are concentrating something in one party to vote for a particular. That's why you lost with the GRV. That's why you won't have mouth. Thanks very much away. You cannot say, oh, we are support. Even if you are supporting Tinubu, you cannot say Igbo are supporting Tinubu. You, especially in, I mean, it's easier for federal, but when it comes to local politics, you can't do that. Especially in a place where you are not indigenous to. We are all. I wouldn't want you to go and say you want to support APC in Lagos, even though I know APC will win by the grace of God. But don't say Igbos are supporting Obafemi Hamzat. Don't say that. Igbos are supporting Yayi in Ogun State. Don't say that. If you are going to... Politics is not this difficult. I mean, I know it's difficult, but these are the simple things now. Like there are things you would do covertly. You now make yourself look as if you are antagonizing the other party. And what Adeglo said earlier, I mean, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, I don't like to go into this, but it is the truth. The Speaker of the House of Assembly in Oyo State, the mother is Igbo. The Speaker is talking about Omitutu 3.0, trying to walk in the footsteps of the present governor. You have now come out to support the governor, making the people to now put 1 and 2 together to say, okay, you are doing it because of your brother. Please mute. You are reducing his chances. Why would you do that? Because I'm going to have to take you down. I'll bring you back up later. Because you know that Adebo Godoy is the speaker, he wants to become governor, is aligned with the governor, Seyi Makinde. You now went to have press conference to support Seyi Makinde. So people are now saying, oh, it's because you are his mother's people. That's why you are supporting him. Therefore, if we vote for him, it's because you want to get into power. You have already shown everything. There's no sophistication, no tact. Everything is so easy to see. We know, in fact, we know the story before now, but now you have confirmed it. You see how dumb it is? Let me tell you what I wrote on YouTube. I said, this is very dumb. I read it on Twitter. People should not be able to see you coming. You should be like Ashake. But because people don't listen to your person, they never see me coming. Oh, Jojo. People should not just see you coming. Like, you just too. And when they talk now, we're calling some people chameleon. Just basic common sense. This is what I wrote on Twitter. This is actually dumb. Very dumb. How is it so difficult for people to move with wisdom instead of always openly picking a side, especially in territories far from home? If anyone needs tact, it should be strangers. This is a complete failure of structural intelligence. Then one clown came and said, oh, but you have Yoruba party in the UK. You can go and form your own Igbo party in the UK now. Say, oh, you have it. Why are you talking like this? It says Grandpa Busui. That one is just joking. But he was trying to tell me anyway. Grandpa Busui, Ejo, please, why do Yorubas have a political party in the UK? Named Yoruba Party in UK. Which is Yoruba candidates? Number one, they did not win. Number two, if you want to have an Igbo party in the UK, excuse me, the doors are open. You will not have it in Yoruba land. That's the point. You cannot have it in Yoruba land. Why? I'll read what I wrote there. What the British culture and structure allows, Anambra does not, let alone the wider Igbo space. Imagine an Ebonyi party being formed or allowed to thrive in Anambra or Imo State. It is unimaginable, isn't it? You would never tolerate such diversity, in quote, in your own backyard. Since you lack the internal intelligence to create the level of inclusion among your own subgroups, why should anyone allow you to manufacture it in theirs? Your concern right now should be fixing your own structural deficit, not discussing structural intelligence outside the Southeast. You cannot have an Ebonyi person do anything of any substance in Anambra State, but you come to Yoruba land to come and tell us how to do politics. Are you serious? I read a few more things before we go to Bumblebee. Sinchin, please send your request. I think you were having issues with your device earlier. Please send your request, Sinchin, on. I hope I can find her. I don't even know if it's a she or a he. Sinchin, I hope they're still here. Please send your request. I'll bring you back up. I just take it. Okay, the person is here. I'll send you a request now, and then hopefully, I can't send you a request. Sorry, I can't send you an invite, so you have to send a request. Okay? Then I'll bring you up. All right. Facebook. Okay, Muzikaye. People are fighting each other on Facebook. Let me just leave them alone. Your mind says, forget ethnicity and we are all one, in quote, run. They are using it to color Delta State in their pursuit of Anioma State. In fact, they are claiming that they own Edo State, Kogi, Rivers, Bayelsa, and so on. The day I heard an Igbo person say that Bonny is Igbo, and me, I just used to look at people, just listen. And the person said the reason is Igbo is because Judge of Opobo is Igbo. Sinchin says, however, Yoruba party in the UK never denigrated indigenous people. UK gbani, awo gbani. Explain. But you're right. We don't go around telling people that London is no man's land. All right. What is that just now? Yes. So when they said that Judge of Okobo was Igbo man, therefore, Bobo, Bonny, all those places are Igbo land. Like, again, cultural evolution. The day I said to somebody one day, I said, Judge of Okobo was an Igbo boy who became an Ijo man. It was as though I had said something to destroy his life. How? It's not possible. It cannot happen. How? Do you not understand the idea of integration and assimilation? He did not become Judge of Okobo because he was Igbo. He became that because he became Ijo. But that's talk for them. They will have that conversation when the time is right. In fact, they are already having that conversation. The king had to come out and say that their father, Naijo. It's not everything that you be shouting blood, 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 blood because you are thinking tainted blood. It's not just about blood. Sometimes it's about assimilation. And every advanced civilization has the concept of assimilation. You will see it in every advanced civilization. I know you don't say generalize. This one I'm going to generalize. Every civilization, advanced civilization, you will see people that may not have gotten them. They might even get to the highest ranks in government, but they somewhere along the lineage, the assimilation of Wale. You see it in Yoruba land, you see it in England, you see it in Rome, you see it in Egypt, you see it everywhere. Adire Meladipo on Facebook says, until we return to the regional structure, there will be no end to the recurrent violation of our boundary lines. As one of the callers said, no country with the size of ethnic differences is peaceful or organized. We should copy something that suits our environment, culture, and other differences. Thank you very much for that submission. I don't want to speak too much, but that was very good. We have to honor and respect our differences. Yes. Tokwe Noel on YouTube says also the various evolutionary stages of the groups. The various ethnic groups have different ideologies about life, different values, different approach to life. Yes, sir. Alakoki says, Bí ẹrú bá pẹ́ nílé, yóò máa bá wọn ṣépè alájọbí. Yorùbá pé o. Tẹ́rú bá pẹ́ nílé, á bá wọn ṣépè alájọbí. Wọ́n tá bá ka ẹrú, inú ẹrú á bàjẹ́. Ẹgbàá mi àmà nígbà tí ka ọ tó bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣépè alájọbí. Bí tọ́rọ̀ wà nìyẹn. Kọ́lọ́n ṣàánú. Monperfait, laws should be made such that even if it's only one Yoruba person in a locality and the rest are quote-unquote strangers, that Yoruba man must lead, so long as it's in Yoruba land. I get what you're saying. Even without the logon self, people are not jinxing. People are very aware now, and we're going to have this conversation. Thank you very much for that submission. Tokwe Noel says, apart from the various evolutionary... Okay, I read that one. Lastly, Adire Meladipo says, exactly, most of our politicians are tactless and immature. The ambition centered only on winning the election, not on how to win the election. They may have inadvertently woken up the elephant in the room. Many people will find out that Yoruba land is no longer as receptive as it once was. That's a very powerful submission. Thank you very much for that. Let's come back to TikTok now, and we have Bumblebee. Sinchin, I hope she's still here. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Good evening, Bumblebee, sir. Yes, sir.
So my submission, you please forgive me, is I will need about 2 minutes. It's a bit long-winded, and Last Friday, you spoke about OAU and AWO. I think, was it Thursday or Friday? Spoke about OAU and AWO and some of the things he said when he was the chancellor of the university, and I couldn't really make a submission, but I'll come back to that. So first of all, I put a post on my WhatsApp status over the weekend. What I said was this. I said, okay, why did I say it? I saw a video by the Brazilian, whether prime minister or president, said something about some countries want to impose themselves as the leader of the world, yada, 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 yada. And I saw it and I was so angry. I said, look, liberals will destroy the world or let the world get destroyed because they don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. A terrorist regime is trying to build nuclear arsenals, and you want people that have the ability to stop them to not say anything about it. I just left it there. Sometimes, once in a while, it gets on my nerve the way people behave around some of these subjects. But that was just that about that. Now, that brings me to what I want to say. The people that complain in our space actually want to impose their ideas and way of life on us. And every time they complain is because we don't let them get their way. And this is the highest form of narcissism. It's a narcissistic behavior, and it is terrible. The very first special elective I did when I was in IFE was Fundamentals of Human Behavior. I was very curious. I was very interested in my part 1 first semester, and I was like, how do people behave? All these things. I was very interested, and I took the special elective. And it's one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that when you get into a space, like if you move from Nigeria to Namibia, what you should be doing is to understand the culture and way of life of those people. It is not for you to go there and impose your way of life on those people. In fact, you will be met with resistance and opposition when you try to do that. A right-thinking human being will get there and say, you know, when you get to Rome, you act like the Romans. One time, I spoke with one of my expatriate friends. You know, we talk a lot, we sit down, we talk and everything, and he was like, you know, at some point he mentioned something, you know, when they hang around, when they spend 10, 20, 15 years in Nigeria, they begin to have, you know, build a sort of perception of how the country is and all. And I was like, why do our people, and all that? And I just kept quiet, and in his mind, it was like, it's the wrong thing to do. You shouldn't bow to your fellow human being. I didn't say anything. I just let the conversation slide. Then this guy went to Japan. This guy is an Asian, but he's Chinese. He now went to Japan on a vacation, and then he was like, he now came back. He now revisited that conversation. And one of the things is sometimes you don't really need to get defensive. You know, when you're in the midst of your friends, this person is Muslim. In fact, he's old enough to be my dad. So, but we talk a lot. So he now came back, he now started appreciating our culture. He said when he went to Japan that, you know, everybody bows and everything and all, and they're so respectful, they're so this, they're so that. When you that you pay in Qatar and she and catch off any brain and catch any. So I just kept quiet and let him, you know, run that commentary and everything. But so now going back to what the liberals are doing, what is happening in the UK today? There are, especially in, you know, London and all that, there are English culture, there are ways of life of the Englishman. And then you see people that have left their country. You know, they've left their country because of insecurity, because of government instability and all, and then they get to the UK and now they want to impose their way of life on the people that are there. It is a wrong behavior. And I say these things and I keep quiet. It brings me back to the point that the liberals will actually let their country be destroyed because they don't want to make people uncomfortable. Going back to okay, now I'm going to Dino Melaye. Prophet Mabino, I needed like 2 minutes. So going back to Dino Melaye, one of the things that stood out to me is that, you know, when you are in a professional line, there's something called being a subject matter expert. When you're new in the profession, you begin to learn the ropes. You begin to, you know, there are people that are superior to you, your senior supervisors and all. They teach you, you know, this is how we do this is how we do that. And then when it gets to a point, maybe after 24 years of being taught, having experience, you know, being on projects and everything, there comes a time when you become the subject matter expert. That when you get into a meeting, you get into a room, everybody is looking to you for answers to what to do. You can't go there and be saying, I think we should do that. When you speak with some level of authority and certainty in what you're saying. Like if you're an engineer, you can't go there and say, I think we should use a chemical transformer. You are there because you are the subject matter expert. You are the person who should be experienced enough to tell us what to do. So when you see people that don't, you ask them, what should we do? You don't know. The only thing you think is the guy there is not doing it well, but you don't know what to do. But when you ask the other people, they will say, the person is that you're just uncomfortable with the guy there, but you are not a subject matter expert. Basically, you want to come and run government and learn on the job. We don't want those kind of people. The guy there is doing very well. As in terms of what he has done so far, since he has gotten there, salaries have been paid consistently, which is new. Pensions have been paid consistently, which is new. Infrastructure is being taken care of. We've not had one ASU strike since they got there. Things I think they need to do better in the area of security and healthcare. I think the government of the day needs to do better, which is why we need to. It's a wake-up call for them. They've tried in the area of infrastructure, healthcare, oil and gas, the bottlenecking, but they need to do better in those other areas. Now, you said something about Kemi Badenoch. 2 weekends ago, I watched an interview, Jordan Peterson and Kemi Badenoch, and Kemi Badenoch said something. He said, the current day, people that are considered as the current conservatives are actually classic liberals. They were people that spoke up for freedom of speech and all that. They were the guys that were liberal in the classic era, classic liberals, but now they are being considered as conservatives. And she said something about how she became a conservative. She said she had these ideas, and she was like, why are people doing like this? Why are people doing like that? Why are people doing like this? I would rather things are done this way. Things are done this way. Why are you letting people bully you against your own way of life? And then she now found out that, oh, there's actually a party called the Conservative Party. And that's how she just found out that she had the same ideology and the same way of life and the same ideas, political ideas as those people. And these are things we should hold on to. Classic liberal ideas that are being referred to as conservative ideas, because if the new liberals are led to get away, which is the far left, they are going to destroy the world because they don't want to make people uncomfortable. Kudos to people like Amzat that is currently being there. You know, we talk about Lagos being the most populated, smallest state in the country, and is the most populated. Lagos state government has never complained for one day. They have adjusted themselves, they have restructured themselves, they have learned on the job, and every time they meet a challenge, they keep evolving. Lagos is the most well-managed space in the whole of this country, and most of the things that have been spearheaded there is not done by the federal government. It's a wake-up call for other state governments. Now, then lastly, what you said about OAU, I will say this. I say this because I have first-hand experience. You know, when I said OAU should move towards STEM courses, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, I will tell you this. I studied electrical engineering in Ife. One of the most senior professors in MIT today, in this field of power systems engineering, is an ex-OAU lecturer. One of the most senior lecturers in Delft University. Delft University is the #1 university in the Netherlands when it comes to technology. When it comes to all this, spearheading the ultra UV lithography, which is what they use in making microchips. It's been spearheaded by those, in terms of the research and everything, it's been spearheaded by universities like Delft. The research is being spearheaded by them. We have an ex-OAU lecturer there. So these were things that were foundations that our father laid down. These were things they wanted us to be doing here. So once you already get ahead of the curve. So I just pray at some point we're able to leverage on all these things. And also, let me just chip this in lastly. When I was in Ife, one of the things that we did was we had a lot of exchange programs. Most of our professors in electrical engineering department were going to MIT in the US to do exchange programs, going back and forth and all. And during my year in Ife, we actually did MIT curriculum through our BSc degree. We actually ran MIT curriculum as an undergraduate. So I pray we'll get to where we need to be. Thank you very much, Prof. Eshigon, thanks for your patience.
You really gave it to us. Thank you. Thank you very much for that submission, and that was really, really good. I don't know if the lady came back, but because I'm trying to get her because I mean we don't usually have many ladies, but we had that day glow today, so that works for me. So thank you very much for your submissions, everybody that came up, and those who wrote on YouTube and on Facebook. Somebody wrote, I saw a very interesting comment on Facebook. Berubak Benile Abawan Sheikh Alajobi, profound. Maybe my brother Busui will translate it for us. Let's just leave it alone. Because, number one, you have to explain what Alajobi means. And that one might take us the whole day. But essentially, the point is, we've gotten to a point where, you know, I read this story. 1 second. I read a story somewhere. What's it here? The story of a man, Tabakairu in Yorubaje. So let's not count the number of slaves we have. The boy insisted, let's count. Eventually, the man was like, okay. The father was like, okay, no problem. Let's count. It's a lot of series. Morino become last not too long ago, Sha. Anyway, where am I? Man was like, okay, no problem. Let's count the slaves. So there was a particular day. They brought all the slaves together. They counted the slaves all the way to the night because there were many. Now, at the end of the day, they were like, okay, they've counted, though, this is the number of the slaves that they had, that the man had. And the man said, no, there's still one more. He said, no, that they've counted all the slaves, you know, that's the number. And I was like, no, there's a particular one that they haven't counted yet. And it was like, he's actually the boy. And then turns out that the boy's mother was a slave. And the owner just adopted the boy after the mother died during childbirth. Now, here's the point. Is actually the right way to do it. It may be important to actually kairu. And hopefully, at the end of the day anyway. All right. Someone says we missed 4 industrial revolutions. Go ahead, though. We did not miss 4. How? Which mathematics are people using? 4. Wow. How? There's only one industrial revolution. There's another one. There's a new revolution. I think that's Tekva. Also, let's be. Go bad by no. It's bad, but it's not. I don't know how to say. You know how sometimes we have this alarmist way. You know, let's just leave this matter so don't start something else. But I think I have an idea what you're saying, but no, we didn't miss like that. That like we can't catch up. We didn't miss. The truth of the matter is that this so-called 4th industrial revolution, which is the tech age, we're actually doing pretty good. Can we do better? A lot better. But let's not sound like we are spectators in the world. We are not. Many of the tools you're using are actually created by Yoruba people, especially in the fintech space. So it's not. We'll get there. I want to be very careful because you also have to be careful not to have the mindset of no, we have to be hopeful. All right. So I mean, if you're using Flutterwave, that's something from a Yoruba person. If you've ever used Paystack, that's something from a Yoruba person. If you've ever used Money Point, that's Andela. And these are they are unicorns now. They're unicorns. That means that at least $1 billion valuation. Lemfi, thank you, Adez. We can do a lot better. There's a lot more, but let's not act like we've lost out on all the 4. No, we did not. We have a lot of ground to cover, but We also have to acknowledge the growth. So, and there are many other apps. Yes, Child Deck. They may not be unicorns yet, but they are doing well. Like Child Deck. People at Kuda, people are doing stuff. Oh, yes, currently in the US, people are doing stuff. Oh, we can do more, but let's acknowledge the growth so that we don't look as if Yoruba land, we were going to Daruni. Flutter wave, I think you're going to get into mortar and brick now. Abi? There's this news I read about flutter wave recently. We're moving to the news, so I'm just trying to prepare myself. There's a news I read about flutter wave recently. I think they're moving into something else, into brick and mortar. In other words, someone in banky. Okay. Bumblebee says Money Point and Child Deck are expert. Yes, Paystack guys too. This guy, Ezra, is also from Ife. Good afternoon, sir. So, all of that to say that there's a lot of grounds to cover, but I think the way to sell hope, in my own mind, is you have to also acknowledge greatness, or else you're going to feel despondent, like, oti baje, go baje. Obani, go baje. Shakespeare says Flutterwave has been handed a banking license. Yes, thank you. You've been handed a banking license. But we have to replicate that in different fields. So, essentially, fintech, in edutech, that's education technology, and it's happening, right? I see a lot of apps coming up with Jam and so on and so forth. It's working. We have to do it in edutech. We have to do it in manufacturing. What are we even saying? Some of the biggest manufacturing companies in this country, they are in Yoruba land. Coleman celebrated 50 years the other day. Coleman Cables. They're in Yoruba land. Is Ezra from Ife? Yes, Ezra went to Ife. Went to AU. There are many guys. See, there are many guys in tech space. Some of them I know. Some of them were like younger folks when we were in school. They are doing very well. You may not know their names because they are not the $1 billion valuation, but some of them are in hundreds of millions. They're in this same Nigeria. If you see them, you may not even, of course, you know because, okay, I want to lost Ife. And I'm not just saying Ife, of course, they went to other schools as well. The point is just that let's also acknowledge growth. Or maybe we don't know, Sha, but it's important to also say that. At least Nigeria has about 5 unicorns now. Flutterwave, Money Point, Andela, Interswitch, and Ope. And of those 5, 3 are Yoruba. Yoruba led. I'm not saying there are no ethnic groups involved though, but driven by Yoruba people. And the other groups are not unicorns here, but are doing very well as well. And there are folks abroad as well that are doing very well. Okay? So says the ones in the diaspora that are on low key and call plenty big boys for Silicon Valley. Yes. There's an app, there's something that somebody did, a young man came up with an app. It's AI. Very beautiful stuff. Where he did it for churches, Sha, where if a person is speaking, the app will help you get the verse of scripture the person is using. That young guys are doing stuff. Guys are doing Pew Beam. Thank you, Prof. Pew Beam. People are doing stuff. And I'd like to say this because I think bad news travel faster. Like people calm down. And let me even say something. You see, whatever you give your focus to gets magnified. If you talk about things that are not working, you will not see anything that is working. It's not a way. It's just the reality because your mind is conditioned to only see what's not working. I'm about to preach. In the book of Jeremiah, the Bible talks about certain people that their heart, they have put their trust in men. It says they will not see good when it comes. It's not that good is not coming. Good is coming, but they cannot acknowledge good because their minds are tilted towards men, not God. The point is, whatever you give attention to gets magnified. So if you think about what's happening, what's working, you'll be inspired to also maybe even contribute your own quota. But if it's about what's not happening, Nigeria has happened to you. You will also have many examples of those. That's the thing. You also have examples of those. Yesterday I was watching the news. CBS. 8 children were killed in the US. As young as 1, 13, just killed. There's some channels I like to watch. There's CNN. Then then you have the Fox and CBS. You have the local news channels in the US. I like to watch those ones. Not to look for bad news, but just because they tell stories that are not afefeyeye. For instance, they told the story of a Chinese man who was sick, and the school had to organize a swimming competition to raise money for him. Those kind of news you're not going to find on CNN for the most part, unless of course with their affiliates. So I like to watch those small. Can you see what's actually happening in America against your international news? Why am I saying that? Because as I was watching that news yesterday, of course, 8 children killed. All this school shooting and everything. But I just thought, like, these people will still wake up tomorrow and say, God bless America. They still, because they are thinking of it's not saying that there are no challenges, but they still say, God bless America. I think we should have the same mindset. I'm not saying you should be shouting, God bless. That's not the point. The point is just that all this Nigeria happened to you as though once you travel. I mean, last week, something really, let me finish that thought. As though once you travel, everything is dandy. Of course, it's beautiful. I mean, the systems work better. Let's be telling ourselves the truth. But tragedy happens everywhere. There was a story, a very sad story I read last week. A lady, she was actually going to church with her children. They are Yoruba, they're Nigerians, in Houston. And one drunk driver, truck, Shamans of America happened to them. Of course, it's terrible, but the point is, if I say if you want to travel to America, I will not experience that kind of thing. That's what you will say. That's what you also have to say when you hear that something bad is happening in Nigeria. I will not experience that kind of thing. And then what kind of system should we build or put in place? I just think we should be more positive about things. And may the souls of the departed rest in peace. Amen. Okay, now let's get into this topic. We started a conversation. So there are 2 videos I said we're going to respond to. And people send videos and say react to them. And I discovered that it might actually be another good way, right, of having conversations rather than just reading books. So what we do is, the days we're not having full sessions, we spend time reading, like the book Bumblebee was referring to actually was a speech that Papa gave in 1965 when he was appointed Chancellor of University of Ife. 1967. It was May 15, 1967. And he gave that speech. So we discussed that speech the other day. We're going to do more of that, maybe once a week or so. All of that to say that when it comes to reading, probably be using that approach more. So today we're going to be responding to 2 videos. We'll not be able to get to the second one. If there's time, we'll get to it. But if not, we'll just, work with the first one. So we played this video last week. We started talking about it. I think I'm going to get into some things I didn't get into last week. So let's get into the video. It's just a minute long, but I can assure you the response is going to take a very long time. Because in 1 minute, the man managed to pack so many lies in those 60 seconds or so, or a little over 60 seconds, a little over a minute. He packed a lot of lies that we have to debunk. And hopefully, by the way, we don't do this to say, oh, that person's a liar, I know more than you. That's not the point. The point is for us to see what is being done so that we don't become victims of other people's victimhood. The victimhood narrative is designed to make you their own victim. In other words, once they put that before you, your guards are down, right? You assume it's the truth because, of course, they sprinkled the truth here and there, but the essence of what you are getting is Lasani. So we have these conversations, not so much to say, oh, this person is a bad person, I don't have time. It's to say that there are certain things that are being said, and if we don't nip those things in the bud, which I think some people did not do early enough, but we have a chance to do it now. If we don't do it, we might think those things are true, and we might actually lose out in this conversation. So let's get into this. It's about a man talking about Zeke and calling Awo a tribalist. If you know me, I hate people calling Awo a tribalist. I hate people insulting Awo. I think it's anathema. And that's not even because it was perfect. It was human, made his mistakes, but you can talk about it without you know, especially when the mistakes Awo made is not even to these clowns. Egba was the one. That's the truth. But they've always been talking nonsense since 1951, and it was pain. Pain, yeah, it's that kind of pain that has to be eternal. You know why? Because what you really want is for them to be healed, but I don't think they really care about healing. So may that pain be there, or let me put it this way, because I'm a Christian, may they be healed in Jesus' name. Take a listen. Introduction and take a listen, please.
Look at a little bit of history. You know, when Nnamdi Azikiwe came back from the United States, he started his politics in Lagos. He gained ground a lot and actually controlled the politics in Lagos. Then when Awolowo came back from the United Kingdom, Awolowo was looking for a foothold, what to lean on, how to form his own basis. And he brought in tribalism in politics. He now
So I said we had some conversations around this last time, so I'm going to just go back into some of those things. Says Zeke got into Lagos from the US. Not exactly. He was in Ghana, and then he had to be chased out of Ghana. Some things came up. Not that he did anything really bad, if you really think about it, but he was in Ghana for a bit. Anyway, got to Lagos, got into the Nigerian youth movement. NYM had started in 1934 as Lagos Youth Movement. It was, of course, a youth organization put together to demand certain things, right, in Nigeria that included primarily the Africanization of the civil service. So at the time, you had a lot of white people in the civil service, in the colonial government. They wanted to have, you know, people that look like us, right, in the civil service. So they championed that. And one way of getting that done was to have an institution, right? And they had this institution that we now call Yaba Tech, right? So they had Yaba Tech, but the certificate that they were issuing in Yaba Tech was inferior in quality to the one you would get in the United Kingdom, which means that if you went to, I want to get you to the exact name. I don't want to call it Yaba Tech because it became Yaba Tech much later. Anyway, the point is that if you went to school there, there will be a ceiling to how high you can go, which would defeat the purpose of the Africanization of the civil service. All right. I want to look for that name so that just in case you are interested, something tells me that one or two people might be. Timbatiri, Mama, so I'll talk about it later. So they had some aims, right? They had the principal aim, they had the political charter, the economic charter, the cultural and social charter, and so on and so forth. And of course, I mentioned that they talked about the Africanization of the civil service, the abolition of discriminative practices against Africans, which were then rampant in the governmental and commercial life of the country. And Papa wrote in his autobiography, he says, up to 1943, the Nigerian youth movement pursued the policy and program adumbrated in its charter with unabated vigor and consistency. Wherever and whenever national duty called, it was there to respond. There was no iota of tribal taint in its program, nor was there any in its mechanics for effectuating it. Okay, so I don't know why I can't find the name of that school. I think it's something higher college. Does anybody know that? So this is the issue. I don't like looking for things when I'm live because I would not want to stop until I find it, and it's not very good. It was Yaba Higher College. It was Higher College. Thank you, Adamu. It was Higher College. Yes, I was right. I just wanted to be sure, but I'm glad you helped. All right, so it was Higher College. So they had this Higher College where you would go to school there, you get your degree, and then you get a certificate, and then you're able to work in the civil service. But if there's a ceiling, or if your certificate is inferior to the one that you could get in the UK, that meant that there will be a ceiling, and then there's only so far you can go as a civil servant. And so the Lagos Youth Movement was formed and organized to talk about Africanization of the civil service to ensure that certificate on Yaba Higher College, has that kind of quality that can actually get you to break the so-called glass ceiling, right? Now, it was the first nationalist organization. Of course, there were other groups before then. There was even an NDP, that was a political party that was formed by Macaulay in 1923. But this particular group was a youth organization. It was nationalistic. There was nothing tribal about it. Now, contrary to what this man said in that video, which everybody has always been saying since 1951, that I will somehow introduce tribalism into politics because Zik already had a foothold in Lagos. Did Zik have a foothold in Lagos in the 1940s? Yes, he did. Did Awolowo introduce tribalism into Nigerian politics? No, he did not. Awolowo returned to Nigeria in 1947. He had left Nigeria in 1944 and then returned in 1947, right? And then the political party that he founded was in 1951, Action Group. But the introduction of tribalism into Nigerian politics happened in 1941, between February and March to be exact. And the person who orchestrated it was none other than Azikiwe. We're going to get into some of those things today. So he mentioned that Zik had a foothold in Lagos. Just a little bit of history. 1937, Zik returns to Lagos, and then he begins to publish his newspaper, West African Pilot. Very fantastic paper. People liked it. It was so good. People would even leave their government jobs. That would pay them pensions to work for Zik. Zik papers were the in thing at the time. Like, people just wanted to read it, and it was because of the style he used, right? He had a propaganda technique that was different from what any other paper used, whether it was Telegraph or Lagos Daily News of Herbert Macaulay. Zik had a different way of presenting the news. People just wanted to read his paper, so it became very, very popular. And that, in a way, also was part of what became a problem for the NYM, because when he returned in 1937, there was already a group in NYM. NYM was formed in 1934. If you read, there's a video, I don't want to play it now, but if I have to, I'll play it later, where Zik said that it was one of the people that founded it. It was not one of the people that founded NYM. NYM was already existing for 3 years before Zik returned to Lagos. Although they had known Zik, because Zik used to travel to Lagos Island and would speak at different places. As a matter of fact, the first time Papa met him was while he was speaking. Awo had gone there as a reporter, and Zik was there to give a speech at Itafaji and some of those schools, right? And Awo covered the event. So he used to come around, they knew him. But there were some people that were very popular in NYM at the time. There was someone called Ernest Sikoli, who also had been the boss to Awo. There was Mr. Vaughan, there was H.O. Davis, and there was Obasame Akisoya. When Zik came around, they dropped Vaughan, and so they had a quartet who always used to speak for the party, right? Because for the movement, because the movement also doubled as a party. Okay, so they will run for offices in what they call the Lagos Legislative Council. All right, so you now had the quartet being H.O. Davis, Ernest Sikoli, Samuel Akisoya, and Azikiwe. And because his paper was very popular, they then, number one, made him a member of the executive committee, and then decided to use his paper to push the news and whatever reportage or what they were doing in NYM. So they were using his paper instead of the service, which was NYM's own organ. You know why all this thing makes sense. Just stay with me. That was 1937. There was an election in 37, 38. Zik really helped. They went all out, made sure they got all the votes they needed, and they won 4 out of 5 seats, right? So only 1 seat that NYM lost in Lagos. The person who lost that seat, his name is Samuel Akisoya, later became the Odemo of Ishara, so he became Oba later. Now, fast forward to 1940, Zik had done some things between 1937 and 1940. So the only time you can really say that he did something for the movement was in 37. By 38, things changed. And one of the things that changed, of course, was the fact that the movement decided around 38, 39, thereabout, they decided to stop using West African Pilot to push their events or their news, which makes sense because they were a movement that existed even before West African Pilot. They jettisoned what they were using. They suspended the publication, which they should never have done, and decided to choose the publication of a member. And now that you're a member of the executive committee, it's better for us to have something. Zik took offense, right? And he even talked about it in October 1940 when they had a meeting to discuss why he should not be removed from the movement. And essentially, that became a major issue. So at this point, I'm going to go back to the book and read a few things. Okay, we're coming here soon. We're coming here. All right, so let me read some of the things here. I don't want to go too deep into this story because it's not the main issue. But I'll just rush to the end where everybody was tiptoeing around Zeke because they didn't want to accuse him straight up. And Awo spoke up. When was this? October 1940. I spoke. This is Papa. I spoke and recounted some of the doings of Dr. Azikiwe, which amounted to a breach of faith on his part with the movement. Let me quickly mention some of the things that Azikiwe did between 1938 and 1940. Remember, NYM, one of the major goals was Africanization of the civil service. So there was a particular point where the British colonial government wanted to appoint an African, a Nigerian, as a magistrate, okay? And the person turned out to be Adetokunbo Ademola. Zeke wrote against it in his West African pilot. You know, so that not go look as if they make anything up. May I read something to you, I beg? Give me a Porsche. The kind of thing where the man doing, the guy was just doing kind of things. Is there even a good place to start? Because the man was on fire. Let me read some of these things here. At another time, he created more than a tremor, that's Azikiwe, throughout the rank and file of the not to appoint Sir Adetokunbo, then Mr. Ademola, a magistrate, as was then strongly rumored. His ground for this action was that Sir Adetokunbo had not then had the statutory post-call experience. When the appointment was in fact made, he criticized it on the same ground. This act of his was in diametric opposition to the movement's policy of Africanization of the civil service and the judiciary. In other words, you belong to a Nigerian youth movement. One of your major goals is to Africanize the civil service. Now the colonial government wants to Africanize the judiciary. You are now writing against it. And your reason is because he doesn't have statutory post-call experience. Well, how is he going to get the experience if they don't give him that kind of opportunity? Okay? So why would you write against that? This is a major policy of your movement. That's not the only thing, by the way. He spent time also telling us about the greatness of the Igbo people. And like Awo said in his biography, there's nothing wrong with talking about the greatness of your people, but it is wrong when you begin to downplay the efforts of others and you also try to paint others in a very negative light. A very good example I mentioned earlier. If there was a report of crime in Lagos, and of course, Zeke was in Lagos. If there was a report of crime in Lagos, Zeke would write the report. They will tell you the name of the person that did it, and 10 out of 10 it will not be Igbo. Okay? It should be Yoruba. It could be Edo. It could be Yoruba. If it's not Yoruba, they will write the ethnicity of that person in front of the person's name. Contrary to what Zeke had said himself in 1934, that all of us should not be using appellations because we are one Africa. He used to write it in front of people's name. Urobolele yo, his name is Ogogo. It's Urobo. So that you not think he's Igbo. He would, write things to favor his people. There were situations, for instance, where we write the first Igbo man to go this, the first Igbo man to do that. Whereas at the time in Nigerian movement, everybody was thinking nationally, in nation to them being Nigeria. They didn't want to push any ethnic identity above another or above the other. They just wanted to push that Nigeria so that the British would see them as serious people that want to form or forge a new identity, so to speak. But Zeke because he now had the opportunity to have a platform, he was going to use that for his people, which actually changed the dynamics of things in Nigerian politics at the time. The first person to actually introduce politics and introduce tribalism into Nigerian nationalistic discourse was Zeke, and that was in 1938. The first person to bring into Nigerian politics was still Zeke in 1941. In 1938, I'll read some of the things that the so-called Pan-Africanists used to do. One thing that happened, let me quickly start with this one, was election of 1938, where people were having meetings about what to do, and there was a secret meeting between H.O. Davis, Azikiwe, O.A. Alakija, and Samuel Akisoya, and then Mr. Ikoli. And they had the meeting. They're not supposed to talk about it, but Zeke went to publish it the next morning, and called it, he said the youth movement taught us. In other words, everything also only, everybody heard it because, of course, profit. He has a paper to sell. So the news of secret meetings. He would just put them out. And the meeting was about NYM. I'm going somewhere with this. Stay with me. And then he began to call everybody that didn't align with him imperialist stooges. He called them Uncle Toms and Auntie Jemimas. And then we had a case where there was a football match between Christ the King's College, Onitsha, and St. Gregory's in Lagos. Just a football match between secondary school students. And Christ the King's College triumphed. Football person should do. I'll read that to you and then you can make up your mind if this makes sense. An article written by Zeke himself, published on the front page of the Pilot and entitled Football Iliad 1940 edition, shocked many people. It was a big step forward in an insidious campaign which had gone on for more than 2 years on the pages of the Pilot. I'm going to read other things that happened those 2 years later. A football team composed of students of Christ the King's College, Onitsha, came to Lagos to play a win-the-war football match against St. Gregory's College. The CKC team from Onitsha defeated St. Gregory's team by 5-4. To the ordinary man in the street, let alone the highly sophisticated elements, there was nothing extraordinary or unusual in one school or college defeating another in a game of soccer. But not so with Dr. Azikiwe. He saw in the sporting exploits and triumph of the team from Onitsha the inherent superiority of the Easterners over their opponents, and he went to very great pains to establish this fact. By means of careful choice of words and emphasis, these extracts from the article are relevant. And this is what Zeke wrote in his paper. And then to think of the great combination of the Spartan heroes who crossed the lordly Niger, journeyed through the good earth of Benin, hurried across the domains of the Oshemawe of Ondo and the Atanla of Owo, of the Owa of Ilesha, of the Oni of Ife, of the Alaki of Abeokuta, in the invasion of these islands. The choice of words, right? In the invasion of these islands, who but heroes of mighty brawn and exceptionally developed brain would have dared to make this invasion and to succeed in carrying to their River Niger home the golden fleece of intercollegiate soccer championship of the eastern and western provinces. Yet they came to Lagos. They saw the irresistible defense put up by their opponents, and they conquered impressively, convincingly, and were graceful even in victory. Could the achievement be paralleled? Would it not be better for me to leave the answer to the laps of the gods? It was not EPL match. Secondary school, 5-4. Went to town. They invaded the islands. They conquered. They had mighty brawn, exceptionally developed brain, which means that our turn back in here, our brain were exceptionally developed. You get. The funny thing is that August of that same year, CKC team played in Ibadan. They went to play with the Olubadan, and they lost 2-1 to Olubadan. Zeke did not publish that news until about 2 weeks later. They had to prod him and ask him and taunt him and beg him, publish this thing. He didn't publish it. And even when they did, he had a caveat. He added a caveat. He says here, on 24 August 1940, however, the same CKC team played in Ibadan against Olubadan 11 in another win-the-war match. I'm going to jump a bit. It says the CKC were beaten it was even 3-2, not 2-1. They were beaten 3-2 by the Olubadan 11, which were an undiluted Yoruba team. I also saw to it that it was wired to the Pilot. It was after there had been clamors in the daily service in form of letters to the editor that the news of this Ibadan match was published some 2 weeks later in the Pilot. Even then, it was a small item on the back page, and it was explained in it that the CKC team were already tired, and that some of them were in fact limping before they went into the field against Olubadan 11. This was, of course, untrue. So you start seeing tribalism play out in a nationalist space, because all of them at the time, if you were educated, if you were the elite, so to speak, you were fighting or you were working towards the independence of Nigeria, or towards the recognition of the civil service, or towards the goal of being seen as a race that could organize themselves. And you wanted to try it out with Nigeria as an entity. Okay? But Zeke came and began to show us Pepe. Meanwhile, the children will come around now and tell you that I will do tribalism. We have not finished though. I read some of the things that he published beginning in 1938 in his West African Pilot. So he says the Igbo young man to sail to UK is the heading of a front page story and picture on September 23, 1938. The young man is Mr. Jajawachuku, now Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives. By the way, this book was published in 1960. Number 2, 14th West African student, 10th Nigerian, 8th Igbo in USA. Now, you may not see any problem with that in 2026, but back then it was problematic. Why? They were trying to tell the Oyinbo that they could form a nation of their own and they would call it Nigeria. And so all of them, they were running what you would call, of course, a nationalist organization without having to harp on ethnic identity. You see the nonsense they're telling you to do right now. Oh, forget about who you are. Do it, not knowing that his ethnicity was higher than others. So contrary to what they would want to do at the times, they could say, oh, see, it wasn't just a Nigerian, no, the person is also Igbo. 14th West African student, 10th Nigerian, 8th Igbo in USA. Another front page story on January 28, 1939. The 8th Igbo is Mr. Nwafọ Orizo. Then, something 1940, Igbo medical student passes exam in first class honors. Yet another front page story on June 26, 1940. Of the brilliant success of Dr. Esu Egwatu. Now, again, remember what the guy said in the video. He said, Awolowo returned to Nigeria and he was trying to start politics. Then he used ethnicity. Again, Awolowo did not start any political party until 1951. This happened in 1938, 39, 1940. So it's about 13, 12, 11 years before Awo started politics. So you can't say that, oh, by the way, he didn't even introduce tribalism, but that's not even the point. Let's even stay with the timelines, first of all. Okay? At this point, Azikiwe was not even in NCNC, because there was no NCNC yet, too. They had not formed the NCNC. We are starting with NYM. And then he will say, Igbo did this, Kinikon did this. He was always using that Igbo appellation, even though he told us that we should not do any tribalism. Then it says here, a model union in praise of the Ibibio State Union 1 year ago, celebrating the first anniversary of the call to the bar of the first Igbo lawyer in the person of Mr. Justice Louis Banefo. That was on August 18, 1938. Then December 31, 1938, he published a very, very interesting headline titled, The Igbo Are Coming. When was this? 1938. Somebody wrote something on Facebook, the comment section, all the videos we put out, one of the articles I wrote, and the person said, you know, this election that happened is the one that caused this. It's not about election, no. You are holding on to election like a crutch. This misbehavior, this crazy attitude started in 1938, where you will go to another person and just be talking. The Igbo are coming, so we should do what? December 31, 1938. Imagine a person writing that even today. Does that even not mean that the person not thinking straight? But anyway, they are coming. These are but a few examples of the publicity given to Igbos as a group. But as against this, the achievements of the Yorubas, and in particular the academic laurels of their scholars, received